Hello. Hello. I think it's working. Oh my goodness. I hope someone can hear me or see me. I cannot see chat yet, but I'm working on it. I am I'm definitely oh, here it comes. Here it comes. I think it's just very very slow. The delay when I stream on Steam is exceptional, and it doesn't look like that has gotten any better since last time I did a Steam stream. But I'm not going to focus on that. We're just going to focus on being happy that it's working. And I'm going to. Oh my gosh, I can't believe it's working, first of all. I've done. I've. You know what? Oh my gosh. Is there not any sound? Is there not any sound? Maybe there isn't sound. Wait. Oh, it's.
Steam is
Okay, yes, there is sound. I just defaulted to not being on sound. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Yeah, I've been in a few Steam events, and they're just spaced far enough apart to completely forget how I do this every time. So I'm sorry that it's a little bit frantic at the moment. Oh shoot, and I just closed everything. I don't think I wanted to do that. But thank you for joining me here. This is a live stream. I'm going to be taking you guys through the new version of the Crimson Diamond demo, which I stealth updated before AdventureX, before I went to AdventureX. And also, it's I'm trying to find chat. I'm so sorry that I don't have it yet. I'm gonna okay, show chat. Okay, there's a chat. Okay. Sound is good, hopefully. Hopefully you can see me. From what I'm looking at, I think so. Thank you for coming. Yeah, AdventureX. AdventureX was in London. It just finished up this the Sunday. There was the Saturday and the Sunday, the 4th and the 5th, and it's a wonderful event. Organized by really lovely people and staffed by really passionate volunteers. And I was so grateful that I was able to go this year. I went for the first time, my only other time, in 2019 when it was still being held at the British Library, and I was fortunate enough to get to showcase the Crimson Diamond demo at the time, which was a lot more bug filled, but it still is, but not perfect, but a lot more bug filled and a lot less finished. But I'm really pleased to report that the game is coming along really well, and I'm going to have a beta available for my testers really soon. The full game playable from end to end. So that's really exciting. Let's see here. And yeah, this year it was. Last year they did it in at Greenwich University, and they did it as well again this year in Greenwich. And after I finish showing off the demo and answering any questions people might have about the development of the game, I will be showing some photos from the event. A few photos, not too many photos from the event, and some photos of my trip in London, because I actually went to London a little bit ahead of time because there's just so much to see and do there that I really like to take advantage of being there and checking out the museums and art galleries and all the rest of that. So stay tuned for that at the end if you want to. And to to add to the fact that it's always a scramble getting a Steam stream working. Add to that, I also am probably a bit jet lagged, and also I didn't get my usual pre-stream nap, so I'm gonna try my best to be lucid for you guys tonight. I usually stream on Tuesdays on Twitch for Wild West Wednesday. See, it's already going. I usually stream on Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern for Crimson Tuesdays, and I stream art development for the game, which you will see the progress of that tonight because the demo is yeah, the demographics are still a work in progress, and I've been updating those graphics on my streams. If you come to a stream, you don't have to worry about any types of spoilers or anything like that. I'm gonna check real quick if chat is actually working, because I'm a little bit hoping that it is. Okay. Oh no. And I failed to send a message. So I don't know if anyone. I'm gonna try to find this on my phone and see if I can grab it there, because I just tried to send a chat message and it didn't work. So let's see if I can get that on here. And I'm sorry if I'm missing chat. I'm trying to get everything in order while wrestling with the delay that I'm having. Okay, is there a chat? Can I see the chat? Chat. Oh. Nope. Nope, that wasn't it. How do I see chat on mobile? View broadcast page. Welcome. Okay, there's a chat. Okay, wow, I'm gonna get even more delay, I think. But I'm gonna try to make this work. So I'm gonna keep talking until I have verification that things are working or not working. Welcome to chat. That looks like it's partially working. I'm gonna try to send another message. And no, it's not working. Okay, the chat part isn't working, which I'm very sorry about. I'm gonna try reloading this page. Okay, I'm gonna continue going. It says that there are a few people watching, so I'm gonna continue going like you guys are watching, and we're gonna try to solve everything on the fly. Now, first thing I'm gonna do is I'm going to introduce myself, and I'm gonna run the trailer for the game. Welcome to my stream for AdventureX. Ash Games is hosting this wonderful AdventureX Steam event. I am Julie Minamata. I'm the game developer of the Crimson Diamond. I am doing everything in the game, the writing, animating, art, programming, game design, all that stuff. I have a musician working with me, Dan Polakar, who, well, this is not music he's made, but when I play the trailer, you guys will get to listen to some of the wonderful tracks that Dan has made. Oh no, and I still can't see chat. Now, why would that be? Can I pop chat out? Okay, view broadcast page. Okay. Maybe this will work. I'm so sorry about these technical difficulties. I'm hoping that... Oh, man. I am not getting any access to chat. I'm gonna try... Okay, I've tried it on my mobile, and it doesn't seem to work. Oh, test. Perfect. Okay, Marisimus, thank you so much. That's what I was looking for. I'm really grateful that the chat is working. It's okay. I don't really mind if no one wants to say anything. I just wanted to make sure it works because I certainly can't make it work. Okay, thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you, Marisimus. And speaking of AdventureX, it was so wonderful to meet Marisimus in person. That was wonderful. And I wrote you in emails, and I wish we were able to speak for longer on that second day. Okay, okay, Mr. Goldman, thank you. Okay, seems to work. Okay. Okay, I don't think I can actually type into it, but that's fine. I'm okay with that. Happy Crimson Wednesday, Mr. Goemon, and good to see you as well, Mausmus. Okay. Relief. Okay, we have sound, we have picture, we have chat. It's all good. Okay, I need to give my internet a break and cancel the one out that on my phone. And it is, yeah, it's lagging just at the moment, so... That's usual for Steam broadcast. I'm not gonna sweat that too hard. I'm gonna continue forging ahead, even though, wow, that's laggy. Steam. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna continue forging ahead, and I will occasionally pause to refresh certain things. But yeah, I'll show you guys the trailer. It is an EGA text parser mystery adventure game. And what those all mean will be made very clear by the trailer, but just in short, you interact with this game by typing commands into the parser, which is like stuff like open door, ask a woman about fish, things like that. And then you know, hopefully the game will give you a response. And that's primarily the way of interacting with this game. Technically, it is a point and click adventure game because you can point and click to move the character around, but you can also use the arrow keys. Also, you use the mouse for the menus, which I guess doesn't technically make it a point-and-click adventure game, but it is for the movement at the very least, if you want. I've designed the game to be basically playable, except for the menu, basically playable with the keyboard only. And in fact, I think I've made some keyboard shortcuts in the main menu, probably. So for the most part, you should be able to play this game all by keyboard. Yes. And what else? EGA means it's the color palette that I'm using in this game, which is a very specific 16 color palette that I love very much. That is from the late 80s and early 90s. The mystery part also should be hopefully be self-evident. I'm not going to tell you what the mysteries are. You're going to have to figure that out for yourself. But the mystery that leads your character Nancy Maple in the game to Crimson, Ontario, is the possibility of diamonds in the area, which is actually likely in Canada, and it has been found actually not in Nancy's time, but in like the early 2000s, we did find some diamonds in northern Ontario. So geologically, it's sound, and mineralogically, it's sound. But not at the time. They didn't find these diamonds at the time that the game is set, which is around 1914 or so. And the music by Dan has been composed on a Roland MT32, a genuine Roland MT32. Occasionally, Dan comes to be the composer on Crimson Tuesdays. We'll live compose a track, or now that we've pretty much finished all the tracks in the game, we've been going back and polishing them and making them ready to stick in the game. So I gotta actually, now that I'm back from London, I gotta get back bothering Dan about getting me those tracks, because there are going to be a lot of tracks, and I still have a lot to ask him for. I think there's about 30 or so tracks for the game. All right, first let us play the trailer for the game. This game is available to wishlist on Steam, of course. It's also available to when it does launch, but the demo is available on itch.io as well, and on Fireflower Games. So those are other platforms, but I'm assuming if you're here watching on Steam is going to be the place. And if you wishlist on Steam, it's very, very, very helpful for all of those indie game devs out there, because it really helps us gain momentum when we launch the game. And visibility on the Steam page. All right, here I go. I'm going to play the trailer, and then we're going to get into playing the demo from beginning to end, followed by AdventureX photos and me talking about the event more. All right, here we go.
Crimson, Ontario was once a prosperous, lively mining town. But that was a long time ago. Now it's quiet, nearly deserted, and some folks aim to keep it that way. Nancy Maple is an aspiring mineralogist, assigned to follow the trail of a dazzling diamond. An intriguing cast of characters has converged under one roof, each meaning to get their own way. Or else. Will Nancy untangle the mysteries and machinations before it's too late? Will the sleepy town of Crimson shine once more? Find out in The Crimson Diamond, an upcoming adventure game by Julia Minamata. The Crimson Diamond demo is available on Steam and itch.io for Windows PC and Mac OS.
All right, so that leads us to the next bit. And thank you, Maximus. Thank you so much for checking in, and thank you for you guys, Mr. Gomon and Maximus, for just making sure that the chat works. Yeah, I just get paranoid when things don't work. Let's see here. Okay, here are some screenshots from the game that were also in the trailer. Just going to go over that pretty quick. But yeah, let's get into the actual game. Why not? Yeah, as I mentioned, the game is playable from beginning to end in its current state, but I do need to upgrade some assets, which will happen over time. And then there'll be a lot of testing that I'll need to do before the game is ready. But yeah, it's kind of wild to me that it is playable from beginning to end. It's come a long way. It's come a long way. Okay, let us move into that. Okay, here we go. This is the most current version. And it's basically, this is the version that I do have uploaded currently. There were some bugs that were preventing people from using the notebook properly in the game, which is something I really felt like I wanted to fix, because the notebook would like spontaneously delete all the entries and then it wouldn't make any new entries. So I feel like that's probably something I want to fix. And so the most current version of the demo does fix that part. So I am going to get into it. Let's look at some, you know what? You're going to want to see that as well, I'm sure. Okay, there we go. Okay. Here it is. We're going to get into it. Let's see. I'm going to go over some of the menu stuff, I suppose. A lot of options here. Don't worry about it too much, but I think yeah, one of the things that is fairly new, not of the latest edition, is that you can turn on a visual cue for the notes, which I will show you what that means, because when something happens that adds a note to your notebook, there didn't used to be a visual cue for that. There was an audio cue, but some people for whatever reason either don't want it or have trouble hearing the cues. Just there's a visual for that. And also there's text box display delay as well, for if people are afraid of advancing through text boxes too quickly. That's something we can turn on as well. I guess I could turn that one on, why not? Oh wow. Oh. Yeah, so ignore all this stuff. Ignore the score stuff. Ignore this. This is because I just compiled this fresh today. But this is it shouldn't say the beta. It shouldn't say March 2023. Don't worry about that part. Okay. We're gonna get into it. Let's start with. Oh, and one quick thing. I'm not gonna go through this because this hasn't changed at all. But there is a tutorial. There is a tutorial if you're new to text parser adventure games. I want this game to be playable by people who have never played a text parser adventure game, and a big part of that is having a tutorial room, which shows you step by step the basic commands that will help you through the game. And this track is also a track I did want to show. This was a fairly recent addition to the demo. This is a track by Dan, of course. Nice and calming music for something like a tutorial. You're going to want something super chill for this, but yeah, I'm not going to go through this because you can go through this yourself. And if actually the best tutorial of learning how to play a text parser adventure game is watching somebody else play a text parser adventure game, which is what I'm going to do right now. So we're not going to go through this stuff. I'm just going to leave. And that is the well done. That's the visual cue for if you've done something well or if you added a note to your game. But that is toggleable off if you would like. Okay, let's move back in here. Okay. Oh, and I did put a. Oh, that's no. Oh, cancel. Okay, so let's start a new game with the new and improved intro graphics. They're not all finished yet. That's another thing I'm going to need to do before I launch the game, aside from finishing the chapter 7 stuff. And the game does have 7 chapters in total, which would take about, I guess, on average, an hour and a half each chapter, potentially. So you're looking at, 7 to 10 hours, roughly, of gameplay. Well, let's get into it. Crimson, Ontario, 1914. These were all images that I did live on stream. And I also like to get feedback from people when I'm doing these, and Chad has always been very helpful about what to do. At this screen, yeah, I'm particularly pleased about this screen. It has a lot of adventure game Easter eggs. I guess I can walk you through some of those. This is the basement of the Royal Canadian Museum, and you can see there are a bunch of shelves here, and a lot of the shelves have a lot of rather interesting things. Let's see if I can make good use of the pause. Okay, wait. This is it. Okay, what we've been waiting for. Okay, here we go. Okay, here is the screen. Now, I also on my live streams on Tuesdays at 8 p.m. I've been Let's Playing other EGA adventure games, old EGA adventure games from back in the day, and that's been really educational and a lot of fun to play. And it's really nice to see how other developers have created EGA art. And this particular shield here that you're seeing, well, this is not the best pointy cursor, but the shield here that's on the corner of this the press / to resume message, that shield is from The Last Half of Darkness, which is a very popular shareware adventure game at the time, which has a very interesting limited color palette. It is EGA, but it uses it in a very cool way. And I did play that one through, and it's definitely a lot of fun and smart and very scary, for considering the art is fairly simplified art. I still really enjoy that. On the shelf here, we have a skull that looks suspiciously like Manny Calavera's skull from Grim Fandango, which is a wonderful, wonderful game. Beside Manny Calavera's skull, we have the meteor from Maniac Mansion. Beside the meteor from Maniac Mansion is Murray the Skull from Curse of Monkey Island, which, again, all these are some of my favorite adventure games. And the Curse of Monkey Island has probably the best adventure game soundtrack out there. Beside Murray's Skull is Green Tentacle, and beside Green Tentacle is the Grail, Henry Jones Sr.'s Grail Diary from Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. This is the LucasArts shelf. The top shelf is the LucasArts shelf because LucasArts made top shelf adventure games. I don't know if that was intentional or not, but there we go. Below the LucasArts, now this is not a value judgment of LucasArts games versus Sierra games. I actually grew up with Sierra games, and my own game is a lot more like Sierra games than LucasArts games are in terms of the look. But below the LucasArts shelf is the Dagger of Amon-Ra Dagger, which is the sequel to the Colonel's Bequest. Beside the Colonel's Bequest dagger, we have the Crystal Decanter from the Colonel's Bequest. Speaking of. Beside the Crystal Decanter is the Maltese Falcon from Quest for Glory 2. And beside him is the peaked cap of King Graham. Particularly, I suppose this one would be the peaked cap in King's Quest V, the EGA version. Shelf below that, there's this crystal formation. This is from Conquests of Camelot, which is a game that I didn't play until much later, but it's really, really wonderful. I think besides some arcade sequences, it has aged really well. It's a really beautiful game. Beside the crystal, we have one of the Grail goblets, one of the potential Grail goblets from Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. Beside the Grail goblet is some Delftware. It's just a piece of decorated plate, but that doesn't really have any reference to anything else. I just liked it. I just completely invented it myself. Beside that is kind of a very pixelated version of the Schattenjäger talisman or necklace from Gabriel Knight. Bottom shelf, we have this bottle here. Now this bottle is it kind of looks enough alike like the holy water bottle from Personal Nightmare, HorrorSoft's Personal Nightmare, that I could kind of get away with in this area of the shelf. Personal Nightmare is very hard. It's a very hard game to play. It's beautiful though. It's beautiful. It also has a limited inventory, which I've never been a fan of in adventure games, but there we go. The cat besides the holy water is just a cat. I like cats, and this cat kind of looks a bit like the cat from King's Quest III, the black cat, dastardly black cat. Beside the black cat is this kind of jewelry box thing. This treasure chest looking jewelry box is from Mortville Manor, and Mortville Manor is kind of a very challenging adventure game with very interesting vertical dithering, because it was actually a game that was not 320 by 200 resolution. It was higher resolution, which meant they could actually use some other different kinds of effects, patterning effects, to give rise to other colors. And vertical dithering this is the first time I've seen vertical dithering, Mortville Manor. And there is on itch.io there is a developer called Brocanty Games, Brocanty Games, who is doing a remake of Mortville Manor, which is lovely. Really, really nice looking. This big angel statue in the corner, this is also from Personal Nightmare, kind of. It doesn't really look like the one that's in the game, but I felt it looked well enough. What do we have here? Okay, so on the top shelf of the metal shelving, it's a Grecian urn, but that doesn't really refer to any game in particular. Stack of books, a big geode, and some more books, and a random crate, more books. And on the end here, we have the idol from the Chisel mythos, Yahtzee Crosshaw's Chisel mythos, which was very, very influential for me when I was starting to decide to make an adventure game. Chisel Mythos and the Ben Jordan series by Francisco Gonzalez. They both use the Adventure Game Studio engine, and I learned about Adventure Game Studio from watching Let's Plays on YouTube, particularly her Crabbiness's Let's Plays of those games. And they made me believe that, hey, if you even if you're one person in this day and age, we have the technology and the tools and all the rest of it, that you can make your own game, your whole own adventure game. And so that was pretty significant for me, and that's why we have this wonderful idol. Second, the middle shelf of the shelving unit is the crate that the Ark of the Covenant was in Indiana Jones and Raiders of the Lost Ark. And there's no real reason for it to be here because, first of all, this game is set in 1914 and that movie happens later. I really like that movie. And I also like the idea of having that crate there. I think it's just fun. Beside the crate is this idol from the EGA version of The Secret of Monkey Island, which is probably my favorite adventure game ever. And it's in the scene where Guybrush goes underwater, and you can if you leave him there for 10 real minutes, he will drown. But there's plenty to see and do down there, and you've got plenty of time, and it's very easy to figure out what you need to do to get back out. Beside the idol, we have the Rise of the Dragon, whom we've taken to calling in stream Roddy, and it's one of the most beautiful pieces of pixel art I've ever seen. I played Rise of the Dragon on my stream, the EGA version. There are a lot of games, well, not a lot, but there's been a few games on stream that I've played that have a VGA version, but I will play the EGA version every time. Not only Rise of the Dragon is one of them, also Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade also has a VGA version, but no, EGA version for me all the way. I love this dragon so much that I actually I'm starting a cross stitch of him, and I guess I'm going to switch cameras for that. Eric Park and Happy Crimson Tuesday. Yeah, Eric. Yeah, AdventureX was amazing and a lot of fun. And after I finished showing the intro sequence in the demo, I've got some photos to share. I don't know if you're going to be around for that. And I'm so sorry if the stream is laggy and slow and everything. Please let me know what the performance is like on your end, because from what I'm seeing, it seems pretty grim. And I'm so sorry that if this is a bad experience for the people watching. Oh, wrong scene. Okay, this. In fact, you can see also my shirt is also, there's a problem with the chroma keying, but I'm going to turn that off really briefly. Filters. Okay. This is, first of all, I'm wearing a Bucket t-shirt, which is from the game, the intro sequence that you just saw. And this is my version of the Rise of the Dragon. That's the start that I've gotten on him so far. I've done end to end and top to bottom like this just to double check that he'll fit on this piece of Ida cloth. But yeah, I've done a bunch of other cross stitches, EGA cross stitches, and this one's just my most recent one. And I'm hoping after this crazy week I'm having to actually get back into working on that. But anyway, let's move back. Let's move back to this. Okay. Yeah, bottom shelf, we have the kind of, it's going to be a wall of hieroglyphs that kind of recalls Laura Bow 2, the Dagger of Amon-Ra, but I'm going to have a Wadjet on there because Wadjet, of course, is another developer of adventure games, Dave Gilbert, in Adventure Game Studio. Beside the hieroglyphs is this woven basket, which is also from Secret of Monkey Island from the Voodoo Ladies area. Beside the woven basket is the globe. It's the globe from the study of the Colonel's Bequest. Let's see here. On this table, we have we have some gemstones that are from Fester Blatz's Emporium in Space Quest 3. There's also, beside the gemstones, there is another bag of gems, and the bag of gems is from the Colonel's Bequest. And there's also this other part that it's kind of hard to see on this part, but I'm going to pause the close-up on the next. Actually, yeah, I'll pause the close-up of the next scene and show you guys that. But it's still the rough version. Actually, we're working on it together on stream right now, but it's nowhere near finished. About in the right, on the very extreme right side of the screen, there is a tapestry that is also from Conquest of Camelot, and that's from Merlin's Tower study, Merlin's Wizard Laboratory. It's also even kind of in the same area, except it's kind of rounded because it's in a round tower. But yeah, those are all the little Easter eggs. I don't have any other Easter eggs really in the game, I would say, but this is the room where they all are. Okay. Okay. And also this character, this professor character, I've decided to call him Professor Plummer. Plummer. Because for Professor Plum from Clue or Cluedo, but also for Christopher Plummer, who sadly has left us, but was a wonderful Canadian actor. And he was wonderful in Knives Out, which is one of my favorite movies. Yeah, please let me know, you guys, I don't know, indicate how bad this stream is looking or operating for you. I'm so sorry. Far up north, a fisherman found a massive diamond in the belly of a fish. This could be a real boon for our mineralogy exhibit. We need something better than those dilettantes over in geology. I want our exhibit to be the talk of the town. It's too bad that we can't spare anyone to head up to the middle of nowhere on such a long shot. The Royal Canadian Museum is based on the Royal Ontario Museum. When the Royal Ontario Museum first opened in Toronto, it had 5 departments in it, and one of them was geology and one of them was mineralogy. And if you walk into one of the entrances, the side entrances, you can see that there are these big archways. One says geology and one says mineralogy. So I'd like to imagine there was a little bit of a rivalry between those two exhibits. You could spare me? Let me go, Professor Plummer. So yeah, you can see in this most recent version of the demo, I've actually updated some of the writing to reflect the fact that he's got a name now. He didn't before. And this is the scene where there's going to be a close-up of Fester Blatz's gemstones, the Colonel's Bequest gems, and there's also a Conquest of Longbow, the heart, the little heart that is half emerald and half diamond in that game. That's also on the table here. And some of these were suggestions made by chat, and I was very happy to include them. It would be perfect. Everyone else is busy with new exhibits, while I've just been learning the filing system. That could wait a day or two, couldn't it? Okay, stream is working great, Maximus. Thank you. As long as I just wanted a bit of a confirmation, because I just want this to be, entertaining and at least working for people who care to watch it. So thank you. I appreciate it. I'm not usually in the habit of sending unsupervised young ladies into less civilized regions, but as luck would have it, the discovery was made near a lodge, where I'm sure you could stay while you conduct your field work. You win, Nancy. Get on home, pack your bags, and catch the train up north. This was a bit of change in writing from previous versions of the demo, where people felt that Nancy was being too passive in terms of getting sent up north. They wanted her to really take initiative in saying that volunteering and the rest of it. So I did tweak a little bit of the writing here in response to people's feedback. There is an email, feedback@thecrimsondiamond.com. And please, if you find any bugs, screenshotting the bug and also reporting the bug, or whatever you want to do to tell me what the bug is, would be super, super, super helpful. And yeah, if you have any feedback about the writing or the art or anything else, yeah, just please let me know. I'm very open to any type of feedback I receive. Hooray! Thanks so much, Professor. There she goes. If you find something that can make a big splash at the museum, who knows? Maybe the university will finally accept you as a mineralogy student. At this time of history in North America, it was pretty difficult for women to get into post-secondary education. One of the examples that I like to cite is the first woman who got a degree in geology. She was not allowed to do field work. She was not allowed to go to these remote areas, just like Nancy was being told by her boss here. And she had to do all her field work in and around her neighborhood. And she actually did a really good job, and she actually made some really important discoveries. And I keep forgetting her name. I think it was Mary Elizabeth Brown, something like that. Or maybe that's the first woman doctor. But anyway, a lot of this has historical sourcing. So I'm really happy that I can stick stuff like that in there, because it does have a ring of truth, and the reason it does is because it's based on something that was true, or is true. Good luck, kiddo. I won't let you down. And there she goes. A few hours later, here's my train. This is, where you can see I'm going to need to fix this one up, this shot. But this one actually is fixed. I did update this on my own because I will be reusing some of this stuff for the outro. This is it, my first time out of the city. I'm going to make the most of this trip. I can't wait to see the rocks of Northern Ontario. Goodbye, big city. Hello, adventure. You can see the backdrop here is buildings a few hours later. Now we can see the backdrop there through the windows is like trees and farmland. Zzz. Excuse me, is this seat taken? Not at all. Please have a seat. Thanks. My name is Kimi Kishiro. Where are you headed? Pleased to meet you. I'm Nancy Maple. I'm bound for a town called Crimson. Oh my. Oh my. You know, I don't know if I wrote that thinking, well, Kimi is a Japanese Canadian, and I'm wondering if I did. I think I might have. I might have made her say oh my, like Sulu, who is a famous Japanese American. His famous oh my. Oh my. You've got some hours yet. I should know because that's where I'm going. And please, anyone in chat right now, this is a live stream. I'm like here right now doing this. So if you have any questions about the development of this game, please ask. I'm definitely here for you. I'm a clerk from the Royal Canadian Museum. My boss sent me to check out the diamond claim up there. I haven't heard of that discovery. Then again, I don't pay much attention to the news. Well, you'll hear very soon what Kimi's focus is. It's a very strange story. Up by Crimson, a fish swallowed a huge diamond. A fisherman caught it, sliced it open, and there it was, the spectacular sparkling gem. Can you imagine? I jumped at the chance to investigate. This is my first time out of the city. I couldn't be more excited. Where will you be staying when we get to Crimson? A place called Crimson Lodge. When people hear Crimson Lodge, they think of the Black Lodge from Twin Peaks, or they think of Crimson Peak, which is a Guillermo del Toro movie, and they think they get they conjure up these images of some kind of horrific scenes. And the game is a cozy mystery. I guess that's important to say in terms of genre. Cozy means a lot of stuff nowadays, especially because of cozy. Now cozy games are becoming really popular. But cozy mystery as a genre was something that was kind of coined probably around this time, around 1914, maybe a bit later. And what it means is a type of book where, you have a mystery, but it's not super gory or grisly, and it doesn't have, over-the-top scenes like that. It's kind of like, in a way, sort of tame, something you could watch, with your grandma or something, that type of idea. And that is the type of genre that this game is. It's very cozy mystery. I'm staying at Crimson Lodge. I'm a birder. Here we go. I hear there are some nesting colonies of cormorants up there. That's what I want to see. And I wouldn't mind seeing the Sioux Locks while I'm in the area. I'd love to see the big ships up close. The Sioux Locks is really a cool public works project at this time. It's kind of mind-boggling to think of how they built this series of locks through the Great Lakes to transport goods and things, kind of basically by hand nearly. It's a staggering engineering feat if you ever want to look up the Sioux Locks. Or the Sault Ste. Marie Locks. They call them the Sioux Locks, though. And it was the Great Lakes Waterway was the system, I believe. And it was super, super important before we had all these highways and things. And before even, maybe at the same time as the railroads are being established. But it's really hard for us nowadays to imagine what the world was like before all these highways that we have around us. But waterways. This one of the reasons why there's so many cities and towns and things on waterways is because was the easiest way to transport goods at the time. Wonderful. We can be traveling companions. I'd very much like that. You and Kimi chat amiably for a while. As the day wears on, the rhythm of the train moving over the tracks and the monotony of the scenery lulls you into a deep sleep. This is the ragtime piece, is also composed by Dan Polakar. And the interesting thing about this piece is it was not really originally composed for my game. It was originally a track that he submitted to John and Brenda Romero for their game Empire of Sin, as an example of what he could do. And it never ended up getting put in the game. And so it actually was very era appropriate for what I'm doing. And so he gave it to me. So that's, well, he didn't give it to me. Like, he's letting me use the music. I don't own this music that is in the game. I've licensed the music from Dan, because as a creator, I think it's really important for people to still have rights and own what they create. And so, yeah, Dan can, make the money off the soundtracks. And if he wants to, he can, perform this stuff publicly. Any of that stuff. I do think that's an important part of it, because I see it from that perspective. I don't see it as from a business perspective. This demo kind of goes on for a while, and you might get tired of hearing this loop over and over again. So actually, Dan has composed a piece that is going to this demo will transition from one track to another track. And actually, I don't know if it's quite yet, but it's coming up. So yeah, don't worry about being concerned that you're going to get sick of this loop, because there will be another loop that will play during the demo at a later date. Okay. The conductor announces, "Crimson, this stop." Nancy sleeps with her mouth open. I sometimes sleep with my mouth open. That's where that's from. Nancy, it's time to go. Ah, thanks. Oh no, where's my luggage? This animation of her portrait here, this happened accidentally. Like, you see how her eyes are darting back and forth, but they're not really synchronized. There's a bit of delay on one of those eyes. After watching a fair amount of Dagger of Amon-Ra Let's Plays, I noticed that Ziggy kind of has an eye thing where his eyes don't move in sync all the time, and I feel like I could have fixed this. And if people have a real big problem with it, I suppose I could, but I kind of like to think that it reminds me of Ziggy from Dagger of Amon-Ra. Oh, it's not here. There's no luggage left at all. My field kit's in there. What am I going to do? Well, of course, as you know, players, you're going to have to improvise. But that is something that happens in Chapter 2 of the game. That's not handled in the demo. The train will be leaving soon. Nancy, we have to leave now. Ah! Alright, and yeah, of course, this is more finished type of art as well. Oh, I had no idea anyone was still on the train. Hello there. Hello. This character is not too subtly based on Hercule Poirot, one of Agatha Christie's great detectives. And he is also, he's called the Belgian. It's funny, he's called the Belgian in the script, even in the script, in the programming and stuff. I didn't notice you were in the train. Isn't that funny? Yeah, you can, what I love about not having voice acting in my game is that you the player can choose how to read this, in which case you could say, you could read this as, "I didn't notice you in the train. Isn't that funny?" Like, she's questioning him. Or she could be sincere and say, "I didn't notice you in the train. Isn't that funny?" I like that ambiguity of it. Also, voice acting costs a lot of money and takes a lot of time to implement. And also, when I don't have voice acting, I can change any of the writing at any point, and I don't have to worry about having to bring back voice actors to re-record or anything like that. So, a lot of reasons why I don't have voice acting in this game. Not really, I was in the first class car. I'm here to see the nesting cormorants. Is that why you're here? Cormorant? Is that a type of rodent? Oh my gosh, look at that! I could have sworn I fixed that. Jack is supposed to walk in, he's not supposed to... That's wonderful. I'll make a note. Ah, this is bound to happen. When you demo your own work publicly, it's bound to happen. Okay, fix Jack in intro train station. Yeah. This has happened before with him. He just does not want to walk normally. Okay, excuse me folks, but I was sent to pick up just one person from the station tonight. A European fellow, expert mineralogist on assignment, hired by the federal government on loan from Antwerp. Antwerp is in Belgium, and Belgium has been a historic hub for diamond trading. And not only diamond trading, but the craftsmanship and lapidary and all the rest of that stuff. I wasn't told he'd be bringing any secretaries, wives, girlfriends, casual sexism. But, here's the thing, is... At the time, he wouldn't, you know, Jack is a good guy and he's decent. It just, this is the kind of environment and context he grew up in. He doesn't really mean anything by this. It's just, that's sometimes how people thought and said stuff. And if he had been corrected about this, then he would be fine with it, you know. But it just, that this is just how it is sometimes. I'm sorry for the confusion, sir, Jack. I'm sorry for the confusion, Jack, but we don't know this man at all. My name is Nancy Maple, and my friend here is Kimi Kishiro. Jack, you should face them. I was sent from the Royal Canadian Museum to investigate the diamond claim up by Crimson Lodge. And I'm here to see the nesting cormorants. Yeah, Kimi is what we would call like a one-issue voter. This is what she's kind of about. We're both here to stay at the lodge and go about our business. Do you know which way it is from here? I surely know where it is, because that's where I drove out from. But I'm sorry to tell you, ladies, the lodge has been closed to the public for months. You didn't hear? My boss, Mr. Richards, he's getting on. He's done with the lodging business. All he wants is peace and quiet, but then this whole diamond fiasco starts up. Folks all up in arms. He's not pleased at all, I can tell you. This gentleman is here on the government's orders. Mr. Richards can't do much about that. But you two... Well, that's unfortunate, but you only have yourselves to blame for being uninformed. Let's be off, Jack. Good evening, ladies. The thing is, ain't no one's coming by here at this time of night. And the nearest accommodation is the lodge, which is a few hours by automobile even still. Look here, I'll drive you ladies up to the lodge for the night. Tomorrow morning I'll bring you back here so you can catch the train. As it is, Mr. Richards is going to be peeved about hosting unexpected guests. I mean, even more than he is already. His sister's come up from the city to stake her claim. And she's brought a lawyer to boot. Come along now. Here we go. Sure, I'll get those for you. I like he did a little pirouette. Sir, your trunks arrived a few days ago. Boy, they sure are heavy. That, you know what? I think also that particular line of dialogue is also kind of semi-inspired by in Dagger of Amon-Ra when Steve Dorian is at the docks and he receives those trunks and Steve Dorian says, boy, these are heavy. Like, not to say that there is any similarity beyond that, but sometimes these lines come at me subconsciously. Ah, yes, of course. My, it sure gets dark here at night. Lucky for you, I've made this trip many times. Used to be, folks would come out here in the summers for recreation. And before my time, settlers came to this area in hopes of building lives for themselves. But once the mines were used up, there wasn't much reason for them to stay. The soil ain't that good. This is something that is based also on historical kind of documentation, on history, I guess you could say. There are a lot of ghost towns in Ontario, and a lot of them follow the same arc as Crimson, Ontario, which is it started as no development, and then somebody found mineral riches of there was a place called Cobalt, Ontario, which had cobalt. Sudbury is known for steel. All kinds of, like, there's silver mines as well in Ontario, and what would happen is a whole town would be built up around that particular resource, and they'd build lumber mills, they'd build all kinds of stuff, and then for whatever reason it could either be that the mine gets exhausted, or economics have changed so that the labor required for the mine is no longer profitable to sell the mineral. Or even sometimes what would happen is if it's a place that was for lumber, some places were even just really good places for lumber, sometimes they'd log so much that the water table would lower and then the mills couldn't run, and so that was a problem. Any number of reasons why these towns would die out. Speaking of train tracks and things like that, sometimes, if your city or town did not get service by train, then the people would gravitate toward the places that were more easily accessible. That'd be another reason why a town would eventually disappear. Or sometimes these places end up having maybe 1 or 2 inhabitants total. But yeah, like, I wrote this with that in mind, and how Crimson could very much follow that. And Jack mentioned, so that was what was a mine. Another aspect of this is the Ontario government, or the federal government probably, would make it really attractive for people to come and settle land. And they would give deals like, oh, if you come here and you settle this land and you for 3 or 4 years you farm a certain amount of acreage and stuff like that. At the end of that time, this land is yours, and so it's not really free land because you're paying for it with your labor, but it was a good way for people who kind of have nothing to hopefully make a go of it, and eventually get to earn some land. But unfortunately, a lot of cases there were where, yeah, they would work the land, and it just was the most incredibly hard living you could possibly imagine. There's no infrastructure, no running water, certainly no electricity, and a lot of people, I think the vast majority of people, eventually gave up and would return back to like cities and stuff for other types of work, because it was very, very, very hard to do. So if you ever go to a town that's been around for a while, even if it's only been 100, 200 years, and you can go to their local museum, and there's a lot of like a sense of pride of having made it, because it's just a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, and luck as well to make it as a town. There's plenty of reasons why a lot of them don't. But anyway, have you seen any cormorants? I'm hoping to see some. Yeah, they nest up on the cliffside. Stay away though, they don't like being disturbed, particularly during nesting season, which happens to be right now. So if you're so wild about birds, I'd let them alone. You'd do more harm than good. Besides, tomorrow morning I'll be taking you right back to the train station. You won't have any time to go looking for them. Have any other diamonds been found around the lodge? First of all, no way to know if that rock even came from around here. I've lived in this area for years and ain't never seen any diamonds, so I know for a fact that it didn't come from these parts. They say that man cut it out of the belly of a fish. That diamond could have come from anywhere upstream. That's something else. Thinking about how diamonds are found and how they can, I guess, manifest on a land, along with any other mineral or rock. You could have them from the site. I don't know what the technical term is, but yeah, from the site. Or you can get something called alluvial diamonds or alluvial quartz, where the passage of water moving down a stream will move these things down somewhere else. So they don't necessarily come from the spot that you find them. They could have come from upstream, or even from the movement of glaciers or something like that. There's something that, well, I don't want to spoil anything, but certain types of rocks, like giant boulders, will be deposited in areas that there's no other rocks like that in that area. And what happened was, like 10,000 years ago, glaciers moved through the area and deposited a bunch, rocks that are from like miles and miles, kilometers, I'm Canadian, kilometers and kilometers away. And that explains why all of a sudden you've got these massive rocks that don't really seem to belong to any other type of geological formation in the area. So a lot of ways rocks can make it from place to place. You folks are wasting your time, sorry to say. Who cares about shiny rocks anyway? No use to anybody. We shall see about that. Your travel-weary companions resist your attempts at chit-chat. It seems that Kimmy and Albert have fallen asleep, although in the almost complete darkness it's hard to tell. This is where that music would transition to a sleepier track that Dan has composed, but we have yet to implement. It's impossible for Jack to hear you from the back seat above the cacophony of the engine and the automobile rattling over the rough country road. You decide it would be best not to distract him anyway. Here we go. Here we are. Wow, it's spectacular. This color palette for night, I don't use at any other point in the game. The game covers, I think, 2 nights altogether. So there's a day and night cycle, I guess. I mean, it's only day and night. I don't know if you can call that a cycle, but it toggles between day and night. And the actual nighttime in the game is more cyan based, not so dark. But I guess I went with this. I think I created this screen way earlier than anything else, and that's why it looks this dark. But we can always say it's because it's very late at night or something, or the moon is behind a cloud. I can explain away just about anything. Hand wave. You know what? I almost don't mind having more bodies in the lodge. Feels not so empty. I know that sounds kind of ominous, and I just did that for fun. Well, who knows? Like I said, I'm not spoiling anything. Feels like old times. Make yourself at home while you're here. Thanks, Jack. Welcome to Crimson Lodge. Edmund Detour, this is live. And I guess this is a good time to say that. This is live. I'm here right now. Hello, everyone. AdventureX. This is the AdventureX Ask Games Stream Event. I'm here if you have any questions about the development of this game. I'm going to show some photos from my London trip and from AdventureX as well at the end of all this. Yes, I know, Edmund Detour. It is live. I like to do it live. Um, I flew in from London last night actually. I'm a little bit jet lagged probably, and also I didn't get my nap in because I was prepping like my slideshow and everything. So, but I really wanted. I like doing them live. I think it's fun, even though streaming on Steam is a little bit tough. But yeah, if you're here, thank you so much for joining me tonight, or whatever time it is where you are. And also thank you Ash Games for hosting this event. It's always wonderful, and it really helps us indie game devs. I've gotten a boost in my wish list the past few days because of the event, and I'm super grateful for that. So the least I could do is come on here and be with you guys and show you, maybe say a few new things about the demo after all. Yes, cheers. Happy Crimson Wednesday, indeed. Miss Kishiro, Miss Maple, your bedroom is upstairs at the end of the hall on the right. The bedroom across the hall from you, that's Mr. Richard's suite. Try to keep quiet and stay out of his way, won't you? He shares the suite with Margot. She's his lady friend. Me and Corvus are sharing the bedroom with the 2 pink beds right next to yours. Albert demanded the use of my bedroom, so that's where he is. Don't know why he was so insistent, but the customer is always right, eh? Ha. Oh, Lost Train Dude, fantastic. Hello, Julia. Nice to see you back at the streaming deck. A quick hello. Thank you for dropping by. I super appreciate it. It's good to see you. It was good to see you at AdventureX. I'm glad we could have our chats. And I'll see you next time. I'll see you next AdventureX, hopefully, if I can make it out there. That's the smallest bedroom and wasn't really meant for guests. Jack's talking of the bedroom that Albert took. Nessa's room is across the hall from Albert. I'd stay away from her if I was you. After I get this luggage upstairs, I'm going to start up some supper. Wouldn't do to have you all starve, eh? One of the reasons why I have Jack tell you where all of the bedrooms are and who belongs to what is I didn't have those lines in before, but when Nancy first goes exploring the lodge and you type look, she'll say Nessa's bedroom so and so and so, and there's no reason for her to know that. So I kind of shoehorned those descriptions in to give an excuse why she knows whose bedroom is whose. As well, it's just, we could also say game design wise, it's a nice way to explain the layout of the upstairs. We'll just say that. A lot of reasons. Why don't you explore the lodge a little? Talk to the other folks. Most important, stay out of my hair. I'm a busy man. Not literally, of course. Oh, and if you want to shower tonight, use the upstairs bathroom near the stairs. It's very pink. You can't miss it. Wonder if Nat's still here. Nat's is still here. That's a typo. Yeah, write a note. I probably just want to fix that. I hope, Lost Train Dude, that your travels back to your home were uneventful and comfortable. Nat's is still here. Bug number 2, I find. It's great I get to play. I'm also helping myself because I'm finding bugs. I'm going to my room. I also fixed some of these walk cycles, the up and down walk cycles for the characters, because they weren't that great. They're still not awesome, but they're good enough. You and Kimmy head upstairs to your bedroom. You don't have any luggage to unpack, but you hang your hat and coat on the footboard of your bed and consider yourself settled in. Yeah, oh, thank you, Eric. So, Eric Parkin says, while your game is improving, great job. Thank you. Yeah, we're getting there, step by step. And Dan composed that as well. I quite like it. Okay, Chapter 1, Introductions. And if you skip the tutorial, I'd also sneakily tutorialize here as well. To move Nancy, you can click the feet icon on your target destination. There's that pause. There's that delaying for people who, when they press, sometimes if you press and hold the enter button, then that will skip through the text boxes too quickly, and this is it with text delay on. Or you can use the arrow keys to move. I should talk to everyone and get to know them a little before dinner. Oh, nice. Lost Train Dude, my flight even landed 15 minutes early. Hope yours was too. My flight took off a bit late, but actually they made up the time somehow in the air, and we also landed on time, which is really good. And the flight was about 8 hours, but actually, it flew by, no pun intended. It was really comfortable. I got a few hours, or maybe at least 2 hours sleep in. It was good. It was, and also somehow I don't know what it is with with British Airways. First of all, shout out to British Airways. The I my standards are exceedingly low now that I've flown with Air Canada, my previous two flights, and I'm just happy when they don't cancel the flight. They don't cancel the flight on short notice. They let me on the plane and they let me sit in the seat that I bought, and then they land at some point. But British Airways, on top of that, for some reason I don't know how they do it. Like their flight attendants must be miracle workers, but boarding and deplaning happened ridiculously fast, much faster than I'm used to. So props to British Airways for that. Very nice. Your notebook will tell you what you need to do to progress through the game. Progress and progress. Progress through the game. Right. Type notebook or N when you need to refer to it. Also, you can look at the notebook in your inventory, which is something someone did suggest to me, and I thought that was a really good suggestion. And also, I put the notebook in the inventory at all because people would forget that they had it. That was another piece of feedback that I took to heart. When you have lots of notes, click the arrow buttons or press the arrow keys to scroll through them. Just in case people miss that, because people have missed that in the past. Eric Parkin, have a wonderful night. Thank you so much for dropping by. It's always good to see you. And also, Eric Parkin, you do know you're the one who inspired me through your feedback to implement those text parser shortcuts. So there's another player feedback in action, and that made the game better. So thank you so much for that, and have a wonderful night. Essential objectives that must be completed to progress the game will be marked with asterisks. Seeing as I've lost my luggage, I don't have much to amuse myself with before dinner. Perhaps if I take a look around, time will pass a bit faster. Now, those are both kind of suggestions of looking and talking to people. And indeed, type look into the text parser is a good way to get your bearings. Yeah, so if we type the N, the first, there are 3 separate like sub objectives to complete in chapter 1, and you get one at a time. The first one is to talk to everyone in the lodge, which introduces you to them and also introduces yourself to yourself, because if you did skip the intro sequence, Nancy is about to introduce herself 8 times to other people, and by the 8th time that she introduces herself to somebody, I'd like to think that the player has a very solid handle on who she is, who you are, I guess, and what you're doing there. Okay, let's do this. So this is the pointing and clicking in my game. You point, you click, she will move. Although you can use the arrow keys, which I tend to do more. Really. And tab also opens the inventory or I, and that's also covered in the tutorial boxes that we won't be reading. But yeah, here's the notebook which you can look at, which also opens up the notebook, which I thought was actually like a really good idea. Because yeah, people would forget about it, and it's very, very, very helpful to have the notebook. Let's take our own suggestion and type in look. This is the bedroom you are sharing with Kimmy. A pair of twin beds and matching nightstands are set against the east wall. Kimmy has claimed the bed closest to the fireplace, a clever move on her part as summer nights are still chilly this far north. And Kimmy is here. Okay, so you can see that the dialogue, the text boxes have a bit of a delay. But if we turn off this delay and we type look, they come up much faster. But people were saying that the text boxes were clearing too quickly and they were missing messages. So I implemented that. Well, yeah, we can look at Kimmy. Kimmy Kishiro is a petite Asian lady in her late 30s. She's ruggedly dressed in knickerbockers and sensible shoes. She seems shy and doesn't reveal much about herself. During the train ride, you manage to glean that her family emigrated from Japan in the 1870s. And this also has historical precedence as well, because it's kind of is based on my own experience with my father's side of the family. My grandmother was born in Canada, and I think at like 1913, I think. And her parents emigrated earlier on. And the first Japanese people who came to Canada came around the 1870s, 1880s time. So that's why that is there. Kimmy is writing in her sketchbook with a pen. And for all subsequent times you look at someone, you will just get, oh, well, yeah. Sorry, look at Kimmy. All subsequent times you look at the character, they will just tell you what the character is currently doing. You won't get that whole background thing about them. It's only on the first look. And actually, that I think I got from the Colonel's Bequest, where you look at one of the other characters and you get like a big long description, and then later on, I think you just get what they're up to, at the time. So let's talk to Kimmy. This font is also something I designed because a couple of the fonts that come in Adventure Game Studio were taken from a Space Quest game. I think Space Quest 2, it says somewhere. And like, you probably shouldn't use a font that is used in like a copyrighted or Activision owned property. So to be safe, I did design my own font. I've never been to a place like this before. I'm excited to explore, and I love meeting new people. Yes, you are the inquisitive type, aren't you? Jack did invite you to introduce yourself to everyone else, after all. It's only polite. And this is just more of that pushing the player to do the objective, which is to talk to everybody. I most certainly am. Would you like to join me? No thanks, Nancy. I'm exhausted. That bumpy ride from the train station has left me a bit frazzled. I'm looking forward to some peace and quiet before dinner. The part about being a bit frazzled, I think I also took from Colonel's Bequest, where when you talk to Lillian, she says the ride to the bayou, whatever, left her plumb frazzled, and she's gonna freshen up in the bathroom. That's where that kind of. So they're not really Easter eggs, really. They're just kind of like very subtle callbacks to those other games. I can take a hint. I'll leave you be. I'm sorry you won't be able to stay at the lodge to see those nesting cormorants, and see a note has been added to your notebook. Who knows what tomorrow will bring? I like to live life day by day. The notebook will track main objective progress. You can also ask characters about different topics. Yes. I'm not sure what part you mean is awesome, Lost Train Dude. You must specify who you're asking about, or then what you'd like to ask. Who you are asking about. No, this sentence doesn't even make sense. It's been in the game forever, so I have to fix it. How does it not make any sense? How could it have survived this long? This is not how this works at all. You must specify who you are asking about. Or what you'd like to ask about. Or what you'd like to ask about. God, that sentence isn't good. Try ask Kimmy about birds, or just ask about birds. Okay, so this is that note that appeared in the bottom right. It means that we have indeed talked to Kimmy, and that objective has been updated. Change it to syntax error. Thank you, Edmund D2. Ito. Okay. We can ask Kimmy about birds, or we can even just ask about birds. Will work fine. I'd heard there were nesting cormorants in this region. Nowadays they're rare. Fishermen kill them because they think the birds eat up all the fish, but it's not true. Poor things. We can ask also lady or person. We can ask person, I think, about lodge. Yeah. I tried to make the parser as flexible as possible. You can ask person by their name, lady, whatever, or ask people about things, and then if there's more than one person, then both people will answer. Oh, okay. Lost Train Dude says, well, the game's awesome, but I'm referring specifically to the good experience you had with your flight. Gotcha. Yes. A very good flight. Getting through security and customs and all that is super, super easy. It wasn't crowded. It was really, really, really good. Probably the best flying experience recently that I've had, but that's probably also because recently I've flown with Air Canada, and I will hope to never again fly with Air Canada. Because they won't put you on the plane that you paid to be on, but I got on anyway, and they didn't stop me. And also, they won't give you your money back if they decide they're not going to do your. They decide to cancel your flight. They don't want to give your money back, and you have to fight them tooth and nail to get your money back. I will never fly with them again if I don't have to. So that is the opposite of promo for them. Yeah, British Airways was great. Okay. I was hoping to stay here for a while to see the cormorants and other northern Ontario birds, but the lodge is now closed to guests. What a disappointing turn of events. Yeah, the thing is about the parser is you can ask about anything you want. And I love that part of the text parser, especially for a mystery game. We can ask her about a number of things. We can ask her we could ask her about her parents. You can ask just about most people about their parents. Oh no, and I just said that. No, you can't. Oh, ask parents. Ask about parents. All right. I was born in Vancouver, British Columbia. My parents immigrated from Japan. They have a farm in Vancouver where they grow flowers in a little flower shop. I'm so proud of their hard work. I'm not going to spend a long time asking about things, but yeah, just whatever words come up in the parser, chances are you should hopefully be able to ask about them. Although I don't think you can ask her about flowers. No, but you can ask about lodge. You can ask about other people. You can ask about Jack. Jack is my hero. He brought us to the lodge. He didn't have to do that. So yeah, we're gonna open the door. She will helpfully move herself over to the door and open it. Yeah, there's a lot of animations of opening and closing doors. You can open this drawer if you want. Yes, you open it. Okay. Oh, and also there's nothing in it, but I will search it to demonstrate that. You can search drawer, or search DR is the short. The curio door is empty, or you can look in drawer. Which is different from looking at the drawer. Yes, today, Euland, you can ask about parents. Everyone has something to say about parents. OD, though, speaking of text parser shortcuts, open door can be shortened to OD. Only the most common commands are done this way. But yeah, you can look, and looking will hopefully give you some indication of all the words and stuff that you might want to use in the room. I played a few text parser games that don't do this, and it feels like it's being mean. This is the master bedroom. Mr. Richards shares it with Margot. You feel a little weird about invading their private space. There is a wardrobe and nightstand to the left and right of the wall. There are 2 doors in the south wall. You could, look. Or if hopefully it should be something that is immediately apparent, like look lamp. There are 2 lamps in the master bedroom, one for each nightstand. Their crimson shades match the rug. Or you can look at vase, I suppose. The vase is pale blue with craquelure. Craquelure is the type of glaze. You can put on a type of glaze where when you bake it, it crackles very pleasingly. But anyway, or look curtain. I suppose you want to look curtain. The green curtain nicely frames the window. But I know the deal. So, oh yeah, you know what? Do I want to show? Yeah, I can show a couple other things. The inventory, you don't really use the inventory like you would use it in a Sierra game, where you can click on it and then click the inventory item on something that's actually in the scene. But you have two different cursors here. You've got the eye cursor, which is just a look. Your lucky mineralogist loop engraved with your name and attached to a handy lanyard. Great for getting a closer look at things. So you can look at things like this. An issue of the Toronto Eye from a few weeks ago. And this is the examine, where you can take a closer look at something. And this newspaper is a good one to demonstrate that. You admire the minute dots that comprise the newspaper photograph of a round-cut diamond. The natural diamond described in the article would be an octahedron, like we saw in the intro. Not a faceted specimen. What an embarrassing inaccuracy. But yeah, you can't use any items on other items either in the game. Okay, next. Oh, the stream looks dark. I certainly hope that doesn't mean I've stopped. Give me 1 second. I'm going to quickly check my OBS and make sure it's still working. Okay, good. It's still working. Okay. Whoops. This. Okay. Okay. Great. Open door. Hooray, there's someone in here. And another thing about the look is it will tell you who is in the room. The boudoir transports you to Fin de Siècle, Paris. It's shiny, opulent, perhaps slightly tacky, and very, very pink. A mirrored vanity is the focal point of the room. Exotic perfumes hover in intensely localized clouds that you can almost see. Every movement stirs air currents that bring new scents to your nose. A powder compact is on the vanity. You see a pretty blonde woman in a fashionable dress. This is an example. I think Francisco Gonzalez, who's currently making Rosewater, this is something he said about this. is that before, if you were to look and see this woman before you got to talk to her, it would say this is Margot, or Margot is here. And Francisco is like, oh, they wouldn't know, she wouldn't know her name until they introduced themselves. And so I made this so that it would not tell you who it is until you've talked to her. We can talk to woman. Hello there, it's nice to meet you. My name's Nancy Maple. A pleasure to meet you, mademoiselle. I am Margot. Welcome to Crimson Lodge. How long will you be staying with us? I'm only here tonight, unfortunately. I was sent here by the Royal Canadian Museum on assignment. This is the first time you're going to hear this. But Jack says I'm due to leave on the train tomorrow, according to Mr. Richard's wishes. I see. I'm sorry we won't get to know each other better. Crimson Lodge is a lovely place. I was a city girl for a time, but those days are behind me. And now if we look, it'll say at the end, Margot is here. We can ask Margot about the city, in fact, because she did mention it. Monsieur Richards tells me that Crimson was once a booming mining town. I would have loved to see it in its glory days. And if this diamond news is true, perhaps it will boom once again. Maybe we can ask her about diamonds. Diamonds are the finest of jewels, fit for royalty. Let's ask her about Crimson. The train stops in Crimson. The lodge is still quite a ways to the north over a bridge. That's kind of a weird thing to say, Margot. We can ask about also... What else did she say? I want to ask her about... Oh, ask about her parents. We can ask about parents. Life was hard growing up. We are not so close. Yes. Well, you know what? We're going to ask everybody about their parents today. How about that? Oh, you can also look in the hallways. I'm not going to bother you with that description. It's rather mundane. I don't think there's anyone in here right now. I should know. But yeah, there's not anyone in here. So, oh yeah, this is fun. This mirror, the mirrors reflect. And this is thanks to Francisco Gonzalez, who's currently making rosewater. Because he handed over, he doesn't know how it works either, but he handed over this block of code and helped me implement it. And there was a time when the rooms that had mirrors, the movement would get really slow, which is kind of funny to think of in such a low resource heavy game. It's the game altogether unzipped currently is 176 megabytes or something, but the game was slowing down. And the Lost Train dude here, I'm not sure if you're still here, Lost Train dude helped me a lot in optimizing the code so that there would be no slowdown in the rooms that had mirrors. So I'm very, very grateful for that. The AGS community is wonderful. And I wouldn't have been able to finish... I'm not finished the game, but I wouldn't be this close to finishing this game without them. Okay, here we go. This we know is Albert, so we met him already, and he's eternally going to be unpacking white shirts into the wardrobe. I like looping animations. And I like pretending he has a forever of white shirts. Talk to Albert. Hello, Mr. Respa. How are you settling in? Please, miss, I am busy at the moment and can't chat. Still counts. Mr. Respa is unpacking his things and doesn't want to chat right now. We can try asking him about things, but and also the point notifications, or like the note taking notifications, those used to just clear when you press enter, but also now they're on a timer. So after a few seconds, they also clear themselves. Ask about Jack. But he doesn't want to talk to me. I know that. Please, Miss Maple. I'm rather busy at the moment. Perhaps we can converse after dinner. Miss Maple, Nancy Maple is Nancy Drew plus Miss Marple plus she's Canadian, so it's Maple. That's the whole name. It's a little cheesy, but now I'm committed to it. I kind of like it. But yeah, let us what we were gonna do? Oh yeah, ask about parents. Oh, he's not gonna answer us because he's just brushing us off. Yeah. Anyway, that's fine. Well, let's go through all the rooms just to have a look-see. So yeah, I mean, if I type look, it says oh, it doesn't say this is Nessa's bedroom. Okay, never mind. Anyway, all these, by the way. Oh, this one does slow down a little, maybe a little bit. Still, no, not really. Okay, all these cupboards and everything you can open because I wanted there to be furniture and I wanted them to be openable. And a lot of these are empty right now, but I'm really going to, that's another thing I need to do, even though the game is basically playable from beginning to end. I'm going to add stuff in some of these But the thing is, a lot of times, like this was a lodge, this was an inn, and sometimes, like I don't put my clothing in the drawers and cupboards in a hotel, and maybe Nessa's the same way as me. I don't know. So maybe there's a reason for this stuff to be empty. Some of it, anyway. Yes, no lost train dude. Yes, it's very happy I could help you. That it was incredibly helpful. And yes, just that vulnerable feeling about letting somebody else see your code. Oh my goodness. I'm I'm a self-taught programmer, and one of the great things about Adventure Game Studio is that yeah, it's purpose built for adventure games. The save function, load function, it has some graphical user interfaces like the main menu and everything are already all there and for you. So it's great for if you're not like a super expert programmer. Um, I had a lot of learning to do, but it's pretty easy. Not only because of the fact that it's purposely built to make adventure games, but yeah, it's been around since like 1996 or 1997. In fact, Edmund D2, I did a shout out for you. I'm going to be doing a workshop about Adventure Game Studio, and Edmund D2 did a history of Adventure Game Studio at Narrowscope this past year, and it's available on YouTube if you want to learn the history and some of the games and people involved with Adventure Game Studio. Check out, you can just, if you go to YouTube and you search this for YouTube, Narrowscope 2023 Adventure Game Studio or something like that, it should pop up. But yes, the community is wonderful. It's community maintained and constantly upgrading the software, and everyone's super helpful in terms of if you've got a problem, if you can post it in their Discord or on their forums. I did that a few times, and I got a lot of really good help. And it's also open source. It's also free. You can commercially release games without having to worry about licensing agreements or tiers of membership, things like that. So I've got mostly positive things to say, except the one vulnerability and weakness it has is it's not impossible to port it to other platforms, games to other platforms, because Unavowed is on Switch. So it's possible, but you're going to need some expertise to do that. Okay, let's keep going. Okay, wow, it's almost 9:30. I've been doing this for an hour and a half, and we've talked to 3 people. Wait, how many? Yes, we've talked to 3 people. Okay, but I'm gonna open all these cupboards because I'm proud of the fact you can open this. And this is like, it's location dependent. So I was standing in front of this cupboard. If I was to type open cupboard over here, it asked me to walk closer to the cupboard I want to open. Or I think I can open like this sometimes if I've got specific language. Yeah. Okay, leftmost cupboard is open. Open right cupboard. But mostly it's just easy to just walk up to the one you mean and open it. And then if you open drawers, she opens up both drawers. Right. We can open cupboard, open drawer, open drawer, open cupboard. Yay, we did it. There's actually this game was, well, the demo at least was on Speedy Adventures. Was a Speedy Adventures short challenge, and what's fun about speedruns is that you can create different categories for different kinds of speedruns, and one of the ones that would be fun to create for this game would be to open up all the doors and cupboards. Okay. Another room. Closet. You can open this. Yes. All right. We're not going to open everything. Who has the time? But here's the bathroom that Jack was referring to. Another wonderful, wonderful mirror that's not slowing down anymore thanks to Lost Train Dude. She actually will spin on her own now, too. Oh no! I broke it. Spin crashes the game. Don't spin. That's the third bug I found. And the demo is the part that has been played the most. So that's a little... That's alright. Don't spin. Never mind. Okay. Here we go. We're gonna have to start again, but I'm just gonna escape. Press escape. Just get through everything. Talk to Kimmy? Yeah, that works. We're gonna speed run this for. I will save it this time. I learned my lesson. Yeah, I don't. Oh my gosh, how does no spinning crash the game? Okay, that's fine. We're gonna be fine. Whoop. Here we go. What's Albert's? Oh yeah, good. Look at that. I got all the shortcuts going. Here is the mudroom. Oh yeah, so the demo is chapter 1 of the game basically. You are restricted to the inside of the house. And if I try to leave, this is an exterior door. Nancy will say, "My goodness, it's dark as anything out there. I have no need to go this way right now." No. But yes, in chapter 2, you will get to explore the grounds, and there's a wide open area, and there's some outbuildings that are fun to go visit, and there's just a lot to look forward to. I hear voices near this doorway. I wonder what they're talking about. And this is one of the main things you're going to do in this game to figure out, yeah, what people are thinking and saying to each other when you're not around. And I think this one should support this. I was watching a streamer play this, Pengo Ray on Twitch, and he tried listen in, which I think should have worked. So I've added it to the parser dictionary, and let's hope it works now and doesn't crash the game. All right. I did. I spun too hard. I spun it too hard. And this is Nessa. This is Evan Richards' older sister. And it's funny to listen to streamers add their own voices because I find that with this character, everyone pretty much makes her sound the same. And also, I also make her sound the same too, to be fair. And the way that she sounds is basically Countess Waldorf Carlton from Dagger of Amon-Ra, which is, we've only just arrived, but I can't wait to leave. That type of voice, you know. I've always hated this place. We'll get this whole affair straightened out and be gone in no time. Of course, localizing the will. Yeah, I just came from a games event over the weekend. Can you tell? Locating the will would expedite our departure. I told you, I don't even know if there is a will here. Where there's a will, there's a way, right? That does complicate things. Oh man, you know what? I just thought of something horrible. What if I made him actually say that in this line? I'm not going to do that though. That would be awful. Well, you do your job and I'll do mine. I'm not going to do the voice the whole time. Edmund Dutert says, I love the eavesdropping close-ups. Thank you, I appreciate it. Oh yes, and I did forget to save, but at least the game did it for me. Yeah, and there are saves, so that's Nessa and Corvus too. And a note has been added to our game. And this note says Nessa and Corvus are looking for a will. This is also new to one of the newer versions of the demo, where after you've listened to the conversations, the notebook does track like a quick note about what you basically have learned in that conversation. Okay, so let's go into here. Let's have a seat. Let's sit. Oh, that's another thing. You can sit in just about every room, and there's no reason for this in the gameplay at all. It's just there because I've played a lot of adventure games, and not enough of them let you sit down. And this is a cozy mystery, and what better way to get cozy but to sit? In fact, you can sit in either chair. You can sit here too. And she is sitting differently now. She's got her little hands on the armrests there. Okay. Let's have a look at these people. The parlor is fussily decorated with elaborate wallpaper and a cushy carpet. A cut crystal bowl of Jordan almonds sits on a low table. There's a fancy pair of armchairs and a camelback sofa. A small bronze sculpture stands on an ornate cupboard. I really like mildly educational games that aren't really, they're not edutainment, but they will have like certain terms where I can look them up and now learn a new thing. And I was looking up a lot of furniture terms for this game. And camelback sofa is one of them. You see a stern older woman with gray streaking her brown hair. You see a tall natty man with brown hair and a striped vest. Okie dokie. This is where we can say, yeah, we can talk to people. Also works. Good evening. My name's Nancy Maple. It's nice to meet you. I'm Nessa Crab, Evan's older sister. What on earth are you doing here? Are you another one of Evan's gold-digging girlfriends? Not at all, but I am a diamond-digging mineralogist. At least I hope to be. The government has sent a professional to handle that. Stay out of his way. How are you, Nessa? I'll be happy when I can get back to civilization, reaping the benefits of this incredible windfall. Hello, how do you do? My name's Nancy Maple. Now she's addressing Corvus. Hello, Miss Maple. My name is Corvus Shaw. I'm Mrs. Nessa Crab's, nay Richard's lawyer. She is Evan's older sister. He gestures to the woman seated on the sofa. Once diamonds have been found on this land, I will ensure Mrs. Crab gets the share owed to her. You sound pretty sure that there are diamonds here. Of course, the prospectors have looked everywhere else. That means the diamonds must be here. Indeed. And there we go. We have updated notes. Dr. Nessa talked to Corvus. We have a few people left. That's 5 people. We have 3 to go. So let's stand. We can actually look. There is actually some, cut crystal bowl of Jordan almond. So why don't we have a look at that? Look at bowl. A lovely fancy cut crystal bowl full of Jordan almonds. Look, almonds. Jordan almonds have a teeth-breakingly hard shell. You've always felt they are not worth the effort. Let's... Oh, Jordan... Oh, wait. Oh, yeah, spacebar repeats the last parse command. These Jordan almonds are piled high in a cut crystal bowl on a fancy coffee table. Let's take some. Lost Train Dude, thank you for dropping by. Again, thank you so much for your help on the Crimson Diamond mirrors. And see you online around, and next year hopefully in London again. Take almonds. Almonds. Right. Never knowing when a confection that could double as small caliber ammunition might come in handy, you take a handful. Well done. And here they are. We can look at them. Handful of Jordan almonds, colorful, unpalatable, and harder than most rocks you've studied. We can look at them. The surface of the Jordan almond is disconcertingly smooth and unblemished. Can nothing scratch its indomitable shell. Something fun you can do is you can try giving the almonds to everybody. We'll try here with Nessa. The give command, it's not really used too much, but it's just used for fun. Would you like a Jordan almond? Why would I want one that's had your grubby hands all over it? Give almonds to Corvus. Would you like a Jordan almond? No, thank you. I have more than enough. Okie dokie. Let's keep going. Here's another bathroom with another mirror. Woo! More wallpaper. I love doing wallpaper in this game too. It's very dollhouse-like. I was at the Victoria and Albert Museum over during my trip, not to skip over to the trip photos and discussion about that. But yeah, they had amazing dollhouse. Oh no, not Victoria and Albert. I mean excuse me. The Young V&A, the Children's Victoria and Albert Museum. They had amazing dollhouses. Okay. Open door. Another closet. Open door. Another room. We can sit in this chair. We can't sit on a stool, but we can sit here if we want. Dining room. Oh, this I'm kind of pleased with this. Open cabinet. Look, you can see the stuff inside. When you close it, there, it's like transparent in there. Okay. Oh, wait, no, open door. This one is billiard room. And I have to admit that a lot of the rooms in the lodge are inspired by the Clue board or Cluedo board, of which case this is why there is a billiard table in this room that I had to invent a use for in the game, because I couldn't just make it be here. I wanted to have a reason. But sometimes what happens is I would come up with something that I'd want in the game and then have to I would have to rationalize it to myself later. Study. Moose's head is something that's in a lot of Sierra adventure games, so that's why he's here. Oh, another thing to listen in. We can do so. Listen in works. Listen works. Eavesdrop also works. So, what are we going to do about this? What are we going to do about it? We aren't going to do anything. I'm going to stay out of everyone's way and wait for all this to blow over. What if they find... Shh! Listen, if you want to talk, we'll do it privately later. Meet me in the study after dinner. Oh. Also an autosave, and yeah. Now we can scroll down the notebook or use the arrow keys to scroll the notebook, and now we have Evan and Nathan meeting in the study after dinner. Great. Oh, we should go in there. We should talk to Nathan. Hello, I'm Nancy Maple. How do you do? Hello, Miss Maple. I'm well, thank you. My name is Nathan Cardinal, a family friend of Evan's. How do you know him? Oh, I don't actually know Mr. Richards at all. The Royal Canadian Museum sent me here on assignment. I'm here to survey the land and find out if there are diamonds here. A discovery like that would surely make a splash when the museum opens to the public. Edmund Detour says, next time I go to the UK, I'm getting a Cluedo game, since in the US it's called Clue. Yeah, Cluedo. And I forget why it's called Cluedo. It has something to do with some other game called Ludo or something. I don't remember. Yeah, I didn't really go to any places where they sold Cluedo game boards. If they had a nice edition, I might want to buy one, actually. You're very right. You're wasting your time, I'm sorry to say. My family's lived in this area for many, many years and have never found diamonds here. Small red garnets are still plentiful, but of little value. Ooh. So that's, okay, we talked to Nathan. Talk to Evan. Hello, I'm Nancy Maple, and I'm a mineralogist on assignment from the Royal Canadian Museum. This is the last time you're going to have to hear this. I'm Evan Richards. Look, you and your friend can stay the night, but tomorrow morning Jack will put you on a train back to the city. But my boss sent me up here on behalf of the Royal Canadian Museum. I'm a mineralogist. I've got too much on my plate as it is, what with my sister and that lawyer of hers, and one mineralogist is already one too many. Please, Mr. Richards, allow me to stay for just a little while, and Kimmy, too. Me, Margot, and Jack is all I want in this here lodge. You seem like a nice girl, but all this brouhaha is making my head ache. I'm sorry to disappoint you. Sorry to disappoint you. Open door. Oop. And here is our last fellow that we need to talk to. I also want to show something fun. Open the cupboard. Open the cupboard. Open the cupboard. Look in cupboard or search cupboard. There are huge heavy pots and pans in the bottom cupboard. The glass pane cupboard contains a couple decorative plates, a pretty blue mug, and some plainer mugs. Take blue mug. Aha, you take the glue mug. The glue mug. You take the blue mug. If we close this cupboard, I'm very proud that through the glass you don't see the blue mug anymore. We have acquired an item. The mug has a beautiful blue glaze. The bottom of the mug has an inscription that reads as follows: AG Studio by Chris Jones, model 3.5.1. Actually, I need to update that to 3.6.0. The blue cup, as it's called, is the mascot for Adventure Game Studio. And if you've played a few Adventure Game Studio games, you might notice that it crops up in a few of them. Specifically, I could remember the one in Feria Darls, which is by Tom Simpson. In Lamplight City, there is also one. But yeah, I'm sure you'll find in other AGS games more blue cups. And in fact, Grindislav Francisco also hosted a podcast with Ben Chandler, who's the artist for Why Jedi Games, and they used to do a Blue Cup Tools podcast. It's kind of cool. Okay, so let's look. The kitchen has a rough hue and rustic charm. The lack of decorations and fine furnishings implies that this room wasn't meant to be seen by the lodge's guests. There are cupboards along the walls and an icebox in the corner. A strip of yellow flypaper dangles near the door. Jack is here. We're going to talk to Jack. Hello, Jack. How are you? How are you doing? How are you doing? Do you need a hand? No, I've got everything under control here. You go on, talk with the other folks. I am auto-saved. I'm done cooking up dinner. Why don't you head into the dining room and have a seat? And that's kind of the player's prompt to go into the dining room. And that sound, also composed by Dan, tells you that you have completed all the objectives for this section. And we have a new note in our notebook that says, go to dining room. Now, you don't have to go to the dining room immediately. You can do anything. You can ask other people stuff. You can explore as much as you like. but you will know explicitly that going to the dining room will progress the game. And this is kind of in response to the Colonel's Bequest, which is a game that I do love for a lot of reasons, but I don't love the fact that you could accidentally progress the game by, like just walking into a room. And you'd feel like you'd have to memorize where people are and when to kind of avoid that if you just wanted to exhaustively search the manor in the Colonel's Bequest or to ask people questions. This way, you can feel free to do anything you want in the lodge except for go to the dining room, and you don't have to worry about skipping anything or missing anything. But yeah, why don't we in fact go to the dining room? And in fact, the game did save as talk to everyone. The autosave, you can see it's an autosave because it's got an exclamation mark and colon at the start of the save game file name. We can save our own save games, so I can do that. Go to dining room. If you go to load, you can see my own save does not have those two marks in the front of them. And the number used to be what number of saves that it was, but I don't know what it's doing right now. Yeah, I'm not sure. Okay, next. Let's go into the dining room and enjoy a little cutscene and some more music by Dan Polakar. My goodness, what a lot of company we have tonight. This is giving me indigestion. This food is giving me indigestion. You're welcome to leave. In fact, please do. Yeah, the pause will pause. It's the backslash key, or I guess, yeah, it's just backslash or slash. I never know. But it does stop things, even though the game text boxes will not advance unless you press enter. They're not on a timer or anything like that. But this just pauses everything, like the animation, the sound, everything. If you really want to pause. They're eating what looks to be, I guess, salad with a little bit of maybe tomatoes in it, and then I guess those are roasted potatoes and a bit of meat and a bun. You'd like that, wouldn't you? I'm not going anywhere until we find out if that diamond came from this land. And if it did, then you'd better believe I'm getting my share. That's what you think. I like the little animation. Okay. Yes, that's what we think. That's what I'm here to ensure. Hey you, how long is that going to take? I will begin my fieldwork tomorrow morning. Crimson used to be a garnet mining town, yes? Yeah, but forget about visiting the mines. They blasted the mine entrance and shut years ago when they closed it down. Unless the fish had a pickaxe, broke into the mine, swallowed a diamond, then dove back into the river? Yes, I see. I've never even been there, couldn't tell you where it is. Mr. Richards gets a sour look on his face and digs back into his meal. He looks like he is done with this conversation. Margot, what a lovely necklace you're wearing. Thank you, mademoiselle. Monsieur Evans, he gave it to me. I'm very fond of it. Okay, here's the thing about Margot. She is French-Canadian. And so she speaks with a French-Canadian accent. But I don't write the dialogue to be in her accent. Which is what they do in Colonel's Bequest and what they do in Dagger of Amon-Ra. And I don't necessarily mind when people write like that, but I don't know if it's become more commonplace not to write the actual dialogue with, phonetically like the sounds that she would be actually speaking. But I will say that when I'm writing Margot, I am thinking about her speaking in that accent, and I try to write the sentences to have a rhythm of someone who would have that accent, if that makes any sense. So, for instance, she would be saying, I'm sorry about doing a fake French accent, but, thank you, mademoiselle. Monsieur Evans, he gave it to me. I am very fond of it. That's just the kind of the way I imagined her to talk. And I'm not like going overboard or anything like that, but yeah, that's kind of what she would sound like. But yeah, I don't do that. Give her like when she says it, I don't go E-E-T for it. Like, I am very fond of eat or anything like that. Because I feel like that might be passe for some people, or maybe nowadays that's not done. I mean, those games were made like 30 years ago, so things do change over time. A cheap trinket, misshapen paste gem in a cheap setting. It's a white garnet, not glass. My Richard, he found it here in Crimson, didn't you, mon cher? Never mind, Margot. No one wants to hear about that. My sapphire brooch. Now this is a real piece of jewelry. Bought it myself. Which is kind of a self-own, I guess, in a way, which is what I kind of wrote it that way on purpose. Like, she has to buy her own nice things because no one will give her anything nice. But also the fact that she's probably pretty wealthy. It kind of does both of those things. Well, I think they're both quite nice. Nathan, I read in the newspaper that most of the land up here was once parceled out to settlers. Is that how this plot became property of Mr. Richard's father? About 50 years ago, this land was annexed by the government. Various treaties were signed in exchange for preservation of our hunting and fishing rights and financial compensation. The promises described in those treaties were not honored, by the way. And of course, all of this is true and very much based on the policies and the practices of the government at that time. And this is something that we do learn in school a bit. But not really all that much, and I certainly hope they're teaching more of it nowadays, now that we have the National Day of Reconciliation and stuff like that. Yeah, it was a bum deal, and they got cheated out of a lot of stuff. Definitely read up on it if you don't know. It's pretty appalling. Settlers came, mines were dug, and Crimson was prosperous for a time. But eventually the mines were exhausted. Most settlers abandoned their homesteads, and Crimson became a ghost town. Only Mr. Richards and his family remained. Yeah, we like the peace and quiet. We liked it. I always hated it here. I sure do miss peace and quiet. Now, the idea between these siblings is that Nessa was born in England, and she was brought to Crimson when she was a little girl. And so she remembers when they had a better life and an easier life than the one that they had in Crimson. But Evan was born in Crimson, so he doesn't really know any other life, which I can kind of understand Nessa having a bit of a chip on her shoulder about the whole situation. And being annoyed at how complacent her brother is about it as well, because, yeah, he literally doesn't know any different than what they had lived. The hard life. Nessa and Corvus are first to excuse themselves from the table. They head to the bar for nightcap, which is a prompt for the player to know, maybe you can find them there, kind of thing. Albert follows them for a snifter of brandy and one of his cigars. Jack clears away the dishes and goes to the kitchen to wash up. After eating a minuscule portion of supper, Margot heads upstairs to draw a bath. Kimmy heads upstairs to get ready for bed. Nathan and Evan remain at the table, lingering over their desserts. Well, that was a lovely meal. Yeah, Jack does a good job. Usually I wait for Jack to come clear the dishes so as I can put off getting up. Looks like he's taking longer than usual to clear up what with all the extra guests. I feel a little responsible for Jack's extra workload. Maybe I ought to give him a hand. He'd appreciate that. About time someone made themselves useful around here. Alright, give me 1 second. So this is the final portion of the demo. Not the final portion, because there's still one more thing to go. So this is the second portion, and you can see the objective for this section of the game is to help Jack with dishes. If you just type that into the parser in the kitchen, then we will progress the game to the next stage. I'm not going to show everything in this particular section, but I will show a few things. You need to stand up before you can do anything else. And yeah, I mean, if we go into the bar, which is here, we can hear voices near the doorway and wonder what they're talking about. If we try to listen in from here, Mr. Evans and Nathan are here. Eavesdropping in their presence wouldn't be appropriate. And I feel like there needs to be a space between Mr. and Evans. No, it's not a bug, but it's certainly something I can fix easily. Okay. We can, though, listen in on their conversation over here. We can listen in. This whiskey is not bad, surprisingly. And although we've heard this track a few times, I would like to note that Dan Pollicar, the musician, did compose this wonderful sneaky track. It isn't the worst whiskey I've ever drunk. It's far from the best. My wife Gabrielle is teetotal, no fun at all. Ha, sounds like a barrel of laughs. You said she's a teacher. Yes, she loves the little tots with her sticky fingers. I was basically Evan's mother while we were growing up. I have hated kids ever since. It's not a loving sibling relationship there for sure. He was such a chubby little whiner. He loved Crimson, then again he didn't know any better. I guess I've already said that to you guys, but yeah, she does say that. Whereas I remember our real home back in England, Crimson couldn't compare. If you have any children, Albert? Certainly not. So, do you think there are really diamonds here? It would be a very profitable venture for everyone involved. How soon will you know? I cannot say, madam. Tomorrow morning I will begin my field work. My superiors wish me to be thorough. I may be here a while. Well, I hope you know sooner rather than later. I've never liked this place, and now I have to watch that harlot fawn all over Evan. It sickens me watching him get so easily manipulated by her. Then again, he's never been very bright. Oh, good night, Madam Mr. Shaw. All right. So here we have added a note to our notebook. Nessa and Evan didn't get along as kids. Right. I mean, there were other stuff in there, but I guess that's kind of the gist of it. We go in here. Albert is now gone. These two are sitting here having their nightcap. These guys are still here. But we know from our notebook that they are going to be meeting in the study after dinner. So maybe we can find a way to listen in. And there are a couple ways to do this, but we're going to do the funner way, which is to do something like you can do in Dagger of Amon-Ra, which is hide. And we're going to hide behind this conveniently located tapestry. You stealthily slip behind the tapestry. All right. Look, I don't know what else to tell you. My father and your father had an agreement. This doesn't change anything. What if they find diamonds? What happens to the agreement then? No one's found any diamonds here. Nothing changes. We'll see what we can do about that nosy Belgian. And Margot? How many times do we gotta go over this? She's my gal, all right, but a promise is a promise. When I'm gone, this land going back... Oh, look, another typo. This land going back. Great. Okay, you and your family, simple as that. We've been promised many things in the past, none of them have come to pass. A promise is a promise. We'll see. What about your sister? Nessa? Yeah, that's a complication. I'll figure something out. Just don't do anything rash, got it? I'm deeply concerned. Yeah, get on out of here, why don't you? I'll be seeing you, Evan. Uh-huh. Okay. Great. Check our notebook for what we found out about them. Evan's father promised lodge and lands to Nathan's family after Evan dies. Okay, moving on. Like I said, I'm not going to do everything, so we're not going to do everything. For instance, Margot has said that she's going to go up. Margot, the messages after the dining room cutscene, it said that Margot's going upstairs to draw a bath. If you go upstairs immediately after dinner, you can see her drawing a bath, and then later on she's actually in the bath. But yeah, you can have that, experience that on your own playthrough. Let us now help Jack with the dishes, which is what we explicitly are told to do to progress. You help Jack wash the dishes. Thanks, miss. Lots more dishes than usual. Happy to help. Now I gotta go to see Mrs. Crabbe and Mr. Shaw in the bar. Have to make sure they don't drink us dry. And of course need to get Mr. Richards his hot toddy. He likes a soothing drink before bed. I'm just making notes because it occurs to me going through this that I should add a parse that I'm not going to tell you about. But it's come to my attention that it would be a fun thing to add. Okay. And I don't want to keep Margot waiting. Forget about that last one, won't you? Okay, so that is the chime for that section is finished. We have a new objective in our notebook that says eavesdrop on boudoir door. And that's the last action we need to take. And this part is a part that people got stuck on in the demo that I've now kind of tried based on feedback and watching streamers play the game, that I've tried to make a little bit simpler to do. So, or more, not simpler, but more easily explained and more easily prompted of what to do in this part of the game. And if you are a streamer and you're watching this right now, oh, by the way, this is live. I'm live right now. Hi, this is the AdventureX Games events. If you have any questions about me developing this game, please ask, and I will try to answer to the best of my ability. But yeah, what was I saying before? I just forgot. Yes, this last part of the game. Okay. I've kind of tried to improve to make it easier for the player to figure out what to do. So, I hear voices near this doorway. I wonder what they're talking about. We can try to listen. You can hear muffled voices in the boudoir, but the speakers are too far from the door to hear them clearly. Perhaps you could listen at the door with an item that would help. Hmm. Now what could that item be? This is something that's kind of similar to oh, if you try to open this door, it is locked. Um there's an item that you use in Dagger of Amon-Ra that you also kind of use in this game, and I feel like it's kind of a cliche item to use as well, so I don't feel too bad about that. But yeah, sometimes when people have found the mug, you can try using the mug on the door. Although we don't use in this game, you would have to. There's a few different commands, and I try to make the parser as flexible as possible. But what you could do is you could say, put mug on door, I think should work. The ceramic mug wouldn't transmit sound very well. Perhaps a similar item would do the trick. Similar item. So let's see. Let's look around and see what we can find. Now here's Kimmy. Kimmy is here. Oh yeah, look, Kimmy. Kimmy is asleep. We can try talking to Kimmy, but you can't talk to people who are asleep. We are going to go through some of these rooms. So here, let's see. Look. This is the bedroom Jack is sharing with Corvus. Judging from the crate haphazardly filled with clothes, Jack didn't get much notice regarding this new living arrangement. And that's what we did here on the car ride on the way here, was that Albert demanded the use of Jack's room. And so Jack had to move his stuff quickly. There's a large dresser set against the back wall containing many small drawers. You also see drawers. You also see a low coffee table, a writing desk, books, plus armchair, and a pair of beds. Corvus is here. Let's look at dresser. A handsome walnut dresser with 6 drawers and a mirror. Oh. Can I not look at the stuff that's on there? Did it not mention what's on the dresser? Oh, you know what? I'm gonna add a parse to that. Great. Okay. But there's a glass here on this dresser. Look glass. The water glass and pitcher are set on the dresser. Look pitcher. I think I just have the same exact. I didn't want to write something different for both of those. Well, you can try to take the glass. Have you ever awoken in the night with a fierce thirst? It would be monstrous to take the pitcher or glass. I'm sure there are plenty of drinking glasses elsewhere. Maybe I should try the kitchen, which is this is the thing to say. So let's go to the kitchen. Okay. And we need to look through all the cupboards and drawers. I've made the game so I know exactly where the drinking glasses are. They're in this cupboard. You open the cupboard. You open the cupboard. Search cupboard. The top cupboard has drinking glasses inside. The bottom cupboard has pots and pans inside. I don't think we can... Yeah, take the pot would say, you don't see any pots and pans right now. Well, that's wrong. Take pots when cupboard is open. Well, excuse me while I just, bug test my own game. Says don't see. Okay. Take glass. Hooray. Take drinking glass from the cupboard. Here we go. The drinking glass you got from the kitchen. Spotless. Jack is quite fastidious. You admire the brilliant shine of the squeaky clean drinking glass. Close. Great. Great. So now we are going to finish the demo. And after this, I will be showing some photos from my AdventureX trip. Okay. So we're going to put glass on door. With the help of the drinking glass, you can hear a conversation behind the boudoir door. Let's have a look. Oh, monsieur, you are wonderfully helpful. I cannot thank you enough. I do what I can. Ah, I can never reach that spot. Mon Dieu. Sorry about that, but we gotta go slow. The pamphlet says so, right? I did rewrite some of this actually recently. It does, more's the pity, but I think it's working. You hear some muffled cries. Shh, you gotta keep it down, especially tonight, so many ears around. You are right, of course, though you know I cannot help it sometimes. This must remain our little secret. The voices go silent for a little while. All right, I think we're done here. I gotta skedaddle before Mr. Richard finishes his drink and comes to bed. Of course, merci, Jack. Your days and nights are so very long. You got that right, and I'm not done yet. Having all these folks in the lodge, I gotta work that much harder. I'm sure they will be gone soon. Everything will be back to normal. I hope so. Bonne nuit, Jack. Good night. You heard footsteps coming toward the door. Thinking quickly, you duck behind the big blue chest. After a few minutes, Margot leaves her boudoir and heads downstairs. You manage to sneak across the hall to your bedroom. What a long and intriguing night this has been. Excellent job. Kudos on your thorough investigative technique. You know, I think I did miss at least one thing that you could do. I didn't want to show everything in the demo in case you are interested enough in the demo to want to play it yourself. And also, yeah, I mean, you could ask all kinds of questions. Oh, I forgot to ask people about their parents. But yeah, things like that. There are things you can ask about if you catch some words you might be interested in. I think I forgot to ask Margot about the city because she mentioned she was a city girl, that type of thing. So more stuff for you to discover on your own. Phew, I'm exhausted. What an interesting place this is. It's too bad Kimmy and I have to leave on the train tomorrow. Chapter 2, Excursions. Now, you might have noticed there was a bit of music in that, and that's another Dan track. There's more to that track, but all you get is that little piece of it for that section. And here we are in Chapter 2. Now, this is not something you're going to see in the demo, but because I'm playing kind of, I'm not going to read those things, but yeah, you guys are on your way to the train station, and you can see through the windows that it's now daytime, and so the lighting has changed. Sometimes you can get light coming in through the windows that'll shine on the beds or the furniture or the rest of it. So that is the Crimson Diamond demo. It still has bugs in it amazingly, which even though the actual full game, the beta version is pretty much complete. You can play the game from beginning to end, the whole game, all 7 chapters. There's going to need to be a lot of testing, considering I just played the demo, which is the most tested part of the game, and I found like 4 things I need to fix. Well, 2 of them were typos, and one of them was a bad crash, stuff like that. So I'm going to try my best to make to when I launch the game for it to be as clean as possible. But yeah, you can see that it's still definitely a work in progress. If you're interested in the Crimson Diamond, please do wishlist the game. Please follow the game on Steam. It means the world to every indie game developer for you to do that for them. It really helps us out when we launch. Number one. Also, it's funny to say this because you are watching this on Steam currently, but if you don't really use Steam or want to use Steam, the updated demo is also on itch.io. It's also on fireflower.games. And if you want the game to be on GOG, there is a link. If you Google the Crimson Diamond GOG, it'll take you to a page where you can vote to have the Crimson Diamond added to GOG. I would love to have the game on GOG, but just so far, I don't think they're particularly receptive to having demos on GOG, which might be why it's not on there right now. But hopefully the votes for adding the game to their catalog will help when I actually try to submit the full game to them. So if you're interested at all on that, you can vote for that as well. Thank you so much for watching me play the demo. Yeah, I'm the game developer. I'm making the whole thing except for the music, which wonderful Dan Polakar is making. I stream on Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern on Twitch. My username there is _maple mystery. Don't worry about learning how to spell that though. If you go to thecrimsondiamond.com, you will find the links to everything. My Twitch channel, my YouTube channel where I put the VODs up. This stream will be up. I'll put this one up on YouTube as well. And I have I'm on Twitter. I'm on Mastodon. I do have Blue Sky, but I'm just getting started on Blue Sky. But yeah, I mean you can follow me on any of those places. There is a Crimson Diamond Gazette that I put out every month. If you're interested in following the development of the game and all the VODs and everything like that, and you don't want to be on social media, I totally get that and understand. There is a subscription link at the top of the crimsondiamond.com where you can like it's a white rectangle, and then you fill in your email address into the white rectangle, and then you could submit your email to the subscription to the e-newsletter. And the confirmation emails sometimes take a little while to come, and do check your spam folder for that as well. But another way to keep tabs on the game. The hope still is to have this finished by Q2 2024. I've pushed the date back probably 5 times, but every time I do, I've gotten closer and closer. And this is, it's what a funny thing to say. This is the closest I've ever been to finishing it. Well, that is true. But yeah, 2024 is what I'm aiming for. If you do want to stick around, I'm going to be here to show you guys my AdventureX experience, because this is, after all, the Games AdventureX Stream Event. I'll show some photos of that and quickly go over that. And I'm kind of thinking that I might do that as well on my own stream date, which is going to be next week on Tuesday. But let's get into that. So let's say goodnight to Nancy and get into the slideshow, which looks really weird right now, but yeah, bear with me. There it is. Okay, this actually has nothing to do with AdventureX. Halloween has come and gone, but I wanted to share this beautiful costume that my mom sewed for me and my sister when we were in grade school. Probably between the ages of 4 and 7, maybe 4, 5, 6, 7, maybe something like that. This adorable cat outfit, and I just wanted to share that just because it was in my latest photos, and I think it deserves to be shared. But let's get into this. One of the things that really have inspired me, besides Adventure Game Studio games like the Ben Jordan series and the Chizo Mythos, are these Usborne Solve It Yourself books. Now, this is not one of the books, but you can kind of see one of the books in the corner, the left-hand side of the screen. The books, actually, I'm going to quickly just hop into this. You can see that this does look like the artwork that I just showed. But another one of my inspirations was these Usborne Solve It Yourself books. Now, the first few were called Solve It Yourself, and they eventually changed the name of them to Puzzle Adventures, which is Danger Demon's Cove is Puzzle Adventure. And these ones are my 4 favorite ones. And the reason they're my favorite ones is that they were all illustrated by the same person, Graham Round, here. And I'll flip through this really quickly because I just love these books so much. But yeah, they have amazing. I think these are slides in as well. But they have amazing illustrations in them, and they have fun puzzles and mazes and all kinds of stuff. And yeah, they definitely were a big part of the kind of, not only the kind of format that I like solving puzzles and mysteries, but also the artwork, which is beautiful and bright and colorful and is really fun. And let me bring that back up. And one of the reasons I went to London this time around was I actually got in contact with Graham Round, the illustrator of these books, and he agreed to meet me, and so we got to meet up, which was wonderful. And before I went, I actually designed this card, which was a mashup of the 4 puzzle adventure books or Solve It Yourself books that Graham had illustrated back in the day. And this was the pencil version, the pencil design of this. Here it is. I'm starting to ink it. I use a brush. Actually, it's still here. I use these Winsor Newton Scepter Gold 2s, which are sable and synthetic, a blend. And it's a size 0 brush. So here it is. I guess I can just swap between these two. These are the brushes I used to ink with. You can see by the barrel here, there's some black because this one has not been washed out very well. But this is my favorite inking brush. And that is the brush I'm using here. And I use India ink for the ink. Here it is fully inked just about. Yeah, I think it's fully inked in this case. And here it is. I'm starting to paint it. I use watercolor. One of my questions when I first got in touch with Graham was, what did he use? And I guessed like colored inks, like Winsor Newton has a colored ink set. He used like Doc Martin dyes and Luma inks for coloring the his illustrations that made them so bright and so vivid. I'm not using those. I'm using just my Winsor Newton Cotman watercolors, and that's the start of that. And this is, of course, the background that you see here is the illustration I made for the card. And here it is finished. Each of these elements is from the puzzle adventure books. And here is just examples of the inside of the books. This one is Escape from Blood Castle. Yeah, this is like a fun maze room thing. It's got a lot of cute little cute details and everything. And here is, yeah, Intrepid Ivor in the Evil Baron. This is one of the first pages in the book. You can see the bottom left here. You got the character Ivor, and then just the castle. That is what I drew here. He is in the same little area, the redheaded character. Mr. Gowan, I'm glad you like it. Yeah, I was really eager to show you guys, especially like the artist in here. Ah, Edmund Detour says, very cool. Usborne makes sticker books. My toddler has one, and I've been looking for another because he loved it. Oh, yeah. Usborne makes amazing books. When I've showed these books on stream before, a lot of people remembered their computer programming books, which was the entry level for a lot of kids into programming. And I remember those books on the shelves, but I never tried to program with them myself because I was probably a little intimidated and maybe even not interested at that time about making my own games. Possibly. I know, that's a lie. I was, but I think I just felt like it was too technical for me. And here, yeah, here's this what really happened, and it's just got a lot of fun little illustrations, and you got to try to figure out the sequence of events. And yeah, I mean, you can see in the bottom right here, there's an inventory that Ivor has, which is a lot like an adventure game. And here is Greenwich. This is the area that the AdventureX was relocated from the British Library to Greenwich and Greenwich University. They first held it at Greenwich University last year, and this year was the second time, I believe. And yeah, this is the area. We've got the River Thames. We've got some points of interest. There is the Cutty Sark, National Maritime Museum, Royal Observatory, a bunch of things. And it's just packed with a lot of interesting things to do, of which I will show you a few. This was the meal that I had on the way, and I flew British Airways for this trip. And yes, like I said, British Airways was splendid to fly on. I will, if I can help it, never ever 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 fly Air Canada again. And yeah, the food was okay. Like this was it's teriyaki chicken, and I don't know. I guess that's those rice-shaped pastas. I can't remember their name now. I'm drawing a blank. But rice-shaped pasta salad, banana cake, a little bun with some butter. Yeah, it came piping hot though. That was the best thing about it. This was kind of like the second meal or half a meal on the plane. This was kind of a really skinny sandwich with like I guess ham and tomato sauce and cheese. It was all right. This was my first meal in London. This was Pret a Manger, this is a chain of like, freshly prepared sandwiches and salads and coffee that I wish they had here because I do love a good sandwich. And there it is. I got this. It was like basil, avocado, mayo sandwich on whole wheat. It was very nice. And in the background, you can see some of like those Greenwich buildings. I think that's part of the Naval College potentially. Okay, yeah, there was some flooding during this time in London. They had a big, huge rainstorm, and if you kind of look at the benches that are past this wrought iron fence, you can see the water is up by the benches. Now people were sitting there, but then as the tide started coming in, like the water was up to people's ankles sitting on those benches. That's how high the water came up. And a few days later, even just maybe 2 days later, the water level had gone down significantly. I would say probably 4 feet or something lower or something. Like it was kind of amazing to see the difference between the day I arrived and a couple days later when I was in the same area again. And here is the Cutty Sark, and the Cutty Sark is this wonderful, like I guess this was a naval vessel, and it's got these huge masts on it, and it's just it, it they have the opportunity to climb the rigging if you want. They don't just let you do it on your own. Like they there's like support cables and helmets and everything involved. But the mast is 152 feet high, which apparently converts to 14 stories high in the air. Massive, 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 very, very cool looking ship that has been, lovingly maintained. And the fact that I didn't actually go up on the deck on it this time around. Maybe next time, because I just was kind of I was going through and seeing so many things. And this is also the view from Greenwich across the river. That dome thing is like a footpath bridge thing, which I didn't go down either, but that was pretty cool. That goes underneath the Thames and takes you to the other side. Here's another view of the Cutty Sark. You can see that it's set up on on this kind of windowed thing, and that's actually the museum, which is really cool because you can kind of see down into the lower areas of the ship. Well, not into them, but you can see the lower area of the ship and they built this whole little building around it. This is I can't remember what this is, but it just was really cool. I think this might be the entrance to the Royal Observatory, Royal something. Anyway, really really cool old architecture. And here is the map of the points of interest nearby, which a few that I did visit. I didn't end up going to the National Maritime Museum. Oh, you are here. Yeah, National Maritime Museum. Didn't go to the Royal Observatory. Didn't see anything there. I did go to the Queen's house, so yeah, I can show some of that a little bit. This is the view of the Royal Observatory, where I sat down for a quick break, because by the time I had gotten into London, it was around 10 o'clock in the morning, and even though I got to the airport, Heathrow, at around 10 o'clock in the morning, I didn't really get into this area of Greenwich until around noon, but check-in was, I think, 3 o'clock, so I had some time to kill. Pro travelers tip: if you get into the area that you'll be visiting and it's before check-in, I think just about all hotels will let you like dump your luggage with them while you kind of kill time around town, so you don't have to drag your luggage everywhere, which is what I did. And this is what I sketched while I was waiting. I had time to kill. Yeah, it says Monday, October 30th, 2023, Greenwich, London, 2:36 p.m. Waiting to check into Novotel Greenwich. 3 p.m. check-in. View of statue, General James Wolfe and Prime Meridian. So, and this is Greenwich City Hall, and it used to also be the post office, I believe. And I love this building. It's massive, and the fact that it's a big square clock tower that the faces are not even centered. Like you can see the right hand side clock face is not even centered, and the windows, there's some round windows, but there's no other round windows except the tower. It's a really weird building, but it's so huge and cool that I kind of love it, and I loved seeing it all the time walking around Greenwich. And this is also more of Greenwich. I love the charming chimney stacks in the area. I'm kind of in love with all the buildings. This is Greenwich, the tube station. So yeah, one of the great things about staying in Greenwich for the event is being close to the tube station and getting access to everywhere else that you'd need to get. And it's also a beautiful building. This is one of those old traditional like mailboxes that is still in use, which is kind of wonderful. I love that fact, and I can only imagine how old this thing is. And this is Graham Round. Like I said, I got to meet him. I arranged to meet him before I went to the event because I felt that was way on the safer side of to meet him. and I'm really glad that I got to. This was like really cool. I got him to sign my books, and I'll show you what that looks like. Um, the first book that he in the whole series is Escape from Blood Castle, and I'll turn off the chroma key here for this part. Filter. Yeah. Here's the Escape from Blood Castle. This is the first one he did for them, and this is the first one in the entire series. And I mentioned before on stream, I now have since gone back and went to thriftbooks.com and ordered the rest of the series. So I have all 25 of the series now, and I have not gotten through them all. But yeah, complete set achieved. But yeah, in this first one he signed, he put a little to Julia Graham Round the date. Yeah, I saw him on October 31st, the day after I checked in, and there he is. He put a little cartoon of himself, which I just think is amazing. I actually got him to sign all these other ones too, but yeah, I mean only the first one there has the little sketch. So, but I love the fact that he was lovely enough to sign the rest of these. Okay, moving back. Okay. And here, this is what I ate. I'm there's gonna be plenty of food photos because I always ask Dan whenever he's working at a venue for a gig or something. I always ask him what kind of food they served. But here are some grilled sardines, which I quite enjoyed. And this is the pasta that I had. It was a nice local Italian restaurant, and it was amazing. It was piping hot. It was bolognese. That's another thing. I wanted to make sure that I hit all the famous bits of British cuisine, and I feel like a pasta bolognese is one of those. And this is Graham's cat named Tiger, and Tiger was adorable. And you can actually see underneath of Tiger is this tabletop that Graham painted, and his house is full of paintings, not just paintings on the wall, but yeah, painted surfaces. And here are some of his books that he did a lot of work for Usborne Publishing. He worked with them for 20 years, which is kind of a dream, isn't it? To have that kind of steady work for an illustrator. Yeah, but you can see one of these books is by David Cox and Graham Round, Captain Ding, the Double-Decker Pirate. Just take note of that illustration there because I was fortunate enough I actually got to see the original for that. And here's Tiger, the cat, the front of Tiger, who is adorable. I love cats, by the way. This is Hangdog, and Hangdog is really cool because this is the only book that Graham Brown published that he wrote and illustrated. And what's even cooler is that he gave me one. He gave me one, and he signed it, of course. And the illustrations are gorgeous in this. He actually said that of these illustrations he didn't work with reference. He actually just would draw out of his head, which I've never really been able to do, but he's amazing. So the fact that yeah, this book he wrote and published is really special, and I'm so grateful that he gave that to me during the visit. Doo, doo, doo. Okay. For anyone just tuning in, yeah, I'm live right now on my Steam page. Of course, like later on, if you're watching this on YouTube, then I am not live, but I'm live right now on the Steam page, and I just finished playing my demo, the Crimson Diamond demo, and I'm now showing my AdventureX experience. Well, leading up to my AdventureX experience and the stuff I got up to while I was in London. Here is his studio. I love visiting artist studios. Graham now works in more like a naive style of painting, and I actually have links that I wish I could share, and I did prep them, but I forgot that I'm not on Twitch today, so I can't use my Nightbot for links. Mr. Goldman, he seems like a charming fellow. He's lovely. He was really nice. And yeah, I feel so happy that I actually got to meet him. And here's more of his his studio, which again I do love to see. Edmund Detour, this is lovely. This is lovely. I'm so glad I could share it here with you guys. I might actually go and re-show this during Crimson Tuesday, because I went through my hundreds of pictures of the trip and boiled it down to a few. And here he is in his studio, and you can see like in the back he's got more of his paintings and things like that. So really cool place to go and visit. Yeah, and those are those paintings. And here's his sketches. He'll sketch, and he did this just with like a tech pen and like no preliminary sketches. He just started drawing, and then it kind of got created from there. Then here, yeah, here is the original for that captain, the double decker pirate captain, which it's so vivid to see because he did use like looks like almost like neon colors and things like that. Really amazing and special to see the originals of the pieces. Here's another one. And I told him like these weird like noodly monster things. I told him like there's something about these that are actually really scary. And they're really different from a lot of the other stuff. But it's great. It's great. And here I just wanted to show this because it is like a sketch, and I love seeing preliminary sketches, really early sketches that artists do because it makes me feel like oh, it feels more relatable in a way to see them. And also, I have more like another sketch that's kind of like this, but it's from one of the historic places that I visited, and it does make me feel like more connected to the artist when I see stuff like this. And yeah, this is from the fantasy exhibit from the British Library. The as I mentioned before, AdventureX was held at the British Library up until 2019, and that's the year I showed the Crimson Diamond. But I did get to visit the British Library while I was in town, and they had this wonderful exhibition about fantasy. And I only have a few. I wanted to show this because I do remember these fairy books, the colored fairy books, like the gray fairy book, the what is this? The violet fairy book, the lilac fairy book, and the rest of it. But just not these particular sizes of editions. I saw much smaller ones in my local library. But yeah, I mean, they had a bunch of different um not specimens, but exhibits, and they had some Lord of the Rings stuff in there. They had like Gandalf's on-screen staff and other fun stuff. I'm not going to show like a lot of pictures for that because hopefully that would encourage you to go see the exhibit yourself. But yeah, they had a Dungeons and Dragons like basic rule set, which I thought was kind of cool to see. And yeah, here's what the exhibit looked like, the actual setup of the exhibit. It's very neat. And this is neat because, oh, is it not showing the whole thing? Do I have to scroll? Hold on. Um, Give me a second. I'm going to just try to adjust things. Do I just need to make this longer? Okay, it doesn't go any longer, so I guess that's fine. Okay. Also they had this free exhibit to see at the British Library, which was these wonderful super, super, super close-ups of these bugs. And the bugs were, you can't tell, but they're photo collages where they would take a special microscope with really good lighting, and then they would take a photo of one part of the bug and then do this over like dozens or maybe hundreds of times for one image, and they would stitch them all together to make a single image. And what you get is this incredibly detailed, lifelike, gigantic bug in absolute vivid clarity. And that was very cool. And here's another one. I don't even know what kind of bug this is. I forgot. But it's just kind of staggering to see such large formats. And in like this. Like, look at this thing. This is like a horror movie. Here isn't something else I ate. I took pictures of everything I ate, I think, just about. This is from a chain called Wasabi, I think, and it's just a nice poke bowl, and it was very delicious. I try to eat somewhat healthy sometimes because although my goal was to eat like English cuisine, I also wanted to eat healthy, and I almost feel like those two things are exclusive, mutually exclusive. And this is something, so Graham gave me another book, which was an Usborne book of Solve Your Own Mystery Stories, which is a compendium of 3 of the stories. And I do have all 3 on their own, but I'd never seen this version that had them all in one, and also hardcover, which is really cool to see. That this was really nice that he gave this to me. He gave it to me right off the shelf of his studio. It says cut in the top right, the top left corner. And it means that he cut a page out, and he would write that down on his books if he was cut a page out. And I assume it was to put in like a portfolio or some other reason to have a sample, a print sample or something. But as we were flipping through it, we couldn't find the page. But when I got back to my hotel room, I flipped through very carefully, and I was counting the pages and everything, and I found that page 85/86 was cut out, but it was done so cleanly and meticulously, like you couldn't tell even if you were looking. Which I don't really mind because I already have the books in full on my own copies of them. It's just really cool to have this particular edition, even though there is a page missing. It's still really cool. And this is a book I bought myself at the British Library, and this was published by the British Library, as you can see from the bottom, called The Menu. And I just, as I mentioned, I love food. I love reading about food, and this book was the absolute perfect thing. And it was on sale, which made it even more perfect. And what it is, it would talk about his special historic meals and show even menus, like photographs of menus of what was served. For instance, this tells you about 1897 Queen Victoria's Diamond Jubilee luncheon, first Nobel Prize dinner, Christmas in the trenches, suffragettes victory dinner, among many others, and what was served. So, for instance, I don't even have a picture of a particular menu, but hey, you know what? I have the book here with me, so I'm going to show you. Here's the book. Menu. And yeah, it's got, for instance, would you like to know what was served at, let's see, something that I can kind of understand. Oh, you know what? That's neat. For Queen Victoria's Diamond Jubilee luncheon, they actually have the seating plan, which is kind of nice. You can see that at the Queen's table is the Queen, Prince of Naples, Prince of Wales, Grand Duke of Hesse, Grand Duchess Elizabeth Fedorovna of Russia, Prince Albert of Prussia, Regent of Brunswick, and etc. Well, that's wonderful. But also, let's see what was served. Is this it? I can't tell if this is it. But anyway, here is Royal Luncheon menu. And some of these things include things like, it's all in French. I guess it's classy. Poulet sauté à l'italienne. Anyway, it says here in the description that they served multiple courses plus buffet where guests ate the likes of Scotch broth, chicken with rice, and English-style peas. Additional buffet items included a rather vaguely described dish of hot and cold roast fowls and tomato salad. Okay, that's not a really good example. I'm gonna get another example. What was served at? Okay. Why can I not come up with a better example? So this, okay, well, sure. That's a menu from lunch menu at the grill room of the Commodore in New York, 1933. Crab flake cocktail, Italian antipasto, potage Germany, and chicken Algerienne. Anyway, fun stuff. I like this book very much. Okay, moving on. Here is I guess the shore of the River Thames, Greenwich side. You can see it's a very rocky shore, which we will come back to later. Here's just some pretty moss that I took a picture of because I thought it was really pretty. This is the Trafalgar Tavern where I went for a lunch. And what I love about this is that this plaque on the table looks really old. And it probably is really old, but now it's got a QR code on it and it says scan for menu, order at the bar. That's what I loved so much about this picture. But this is a really old tavern. It was established probably, I think, in the 1700s. And I ordered because the person I was meeting up with said that his friend recommended ordering the white bait because apparently the white bait is, speaking of menus, has been on the menu at Trafalgar Tavern since the 1700s. And they were delicious. I find that in North America, this type of thing is not really served. But not only did I have those grilled sardines from when I met with Graham, but this was delicious. And I do wish they served stuff like this more in Canada, but unfortunately not. But so yeah, white bait. Oh, why is this out? Why is this not in order? Okay, anyway, I will go back to who I met for that soon enough. But yeah, here is more of, I guess, Royal Naval College buildings in Greenwich. Just gorgeous. This is the Queen's House. This I did go to this. This had some really, really cool art in it. It was also free. Another great thing about London is a lot of the museums and art galleries are free. The Queen's House had a lot of like naval art, and which was not something I thought I was interested in, but actually is really quite interesting because look how dynamic this stuff is. This was from the bottom one was Dunkirk, and the rest of them probably are part of the same series. What I like about them is how like immediate they are, and how how action filled they are, and how they're not like super like ornate or anything like that. It's almost like a type of photojournalism before photojournalism existed. And yeah, they had a bunch of busts and stuff. And yeah, this is an example of that wartime painting where it's almost like it functioned almost like as a visual document of the time when photography was really not as prevalent or easy to do. And I love like this guy in the bottom right, bottom left, how undetailed he is, but how he still reads very well as a person. And also, I just love this. This was in a stairwell. Of course, I love some wallpaper, and this is a very, very cool looking wallpaper. It just happened to be up. Monkeys and I forget what these are. Persimmons? No, not persimmons. Anyway, and yeah, painted. Queen's House. A lot of other beautiful paintings, including some famous Tudors there, and this gorgeous stairwell, which I will revisit later. Here is the view from the Trafalgar Tavern. I guess this is all messed up a little bit, which is a really cool view, and it's got like old like cannons and stuff like that. And this is who I met at the Trafalgar Tavern. This is Jamie Benning. And Jamie Benning is a podcaster who makes the podcast Filmumentaries. And what's cool about Filmumentaries is, speaking of documenting stuff, Jamie has been documenting the verbal history of the production of a lot of people's most favorite movies like Star Wars and Indiana Jones and things like that. He's done, I don't know, more than 100 of these, I feel like. And yeah, some of his guests include Walter Murch, who made Return to Oz, among many other things. Oh, Apocalypse Now, THX 1138, that Walter Murch. He's spoken to Garrett Brown, who invented the Steadicam. He talked to Ryan Condal, who was the showrunner for House of the Dragon. He talked to Dennis Muren, who made the effects in Star Wars, the original trilogy, Jurassic Park, and T2. He also interviewed some of the people who worked on Andor, so that's more like contemporary stuff. He wrote a book, Return of the Jedi: Unauthorized Timeline, which is on you can buy that on Amazon. He hosted a panel at the Star Wars Celebration in London, which I think it was this past year. That was an Andor VFX and SFX panel. So really cool guy, really like into all this amazing stuff. So if you are definitely interested in those types of films and want to know more, like these people have so many fascinating stories. And for me, from an artist point of view, it's really interesting to see that perspective of those films, from a perspective we don't often see, because a lot of times they're, these interviews are interviewing the actors or the director or something like that, but you don't get to talk to the people who made the visual effects and like the matte painters and stuff like that, and that's what Jamie does. So it was really cool to meet up with him. And this is an example of my notebooks. I make a lot of notes, and I sometimes make little maps for how to get certain places. This was another thing I ate. So this was the white bait, Return of the White Bait. I had a fridge in my room, a small fridge, and I used it a lot to just have second goes at things that I couldn't finish eating the first time around. And I feel like that really did save me money. I bought just a Caesar salad from the grocery store, a little Caesar salad, and I added the white bait on top, and it was perfect. That was my dinner that day. And I also, speaking of saving money by buying groceries, I went to the grocery store and I bought these thin bagels, British cooked ham, and 10 Edam slices, stuck those in the fridge, and those were two of my breakfast and one snack during my time that I was there. I finished eating the ham. I couldn't finish eating the slices of cheese before I left, but I did bring the 3 thin bagels home to freeze and eat later. Waste not, want not. Yeah, this is what breakfast would look like. And I also bought grapes, as you can see in the top left corner. And those were nice simple breakfasts. Just more gorgeous architecture in London. Also, I didn't know this, but the area that I was walking around this day in London had a Diptyque store, and Diptyque has some of my favorite fragrances. I really love their Rue 34 Saint Germain or something. I can't remember what it's called, Boulevard Saint Germain, something like that. I love that perfume. I thought I didn't like perfume, but it turns out I only like expensive perfume, which is kind of a problem. But luckily, perfume does last a long time. They gave me this sample while I was there. I didn't buy anything from this time, but gave me the sample for Benjoin Bohème, which is really a beautiful, beautiful scent. So I've been enjoying this one very much, and telling myself that maybe I'll buy that for my own birthday at some point because it's just that good. I went to the Saatchi Gallery that was also in this area, so the same area that the Diptyque was at. Also, I went to Penhaligon's, which is a British perfumer, which is actually the reason I was in this area. This and the Saatchi Gallery were the reason I was in this area. And Penhaligon's, I bought a little sampler set of perfumes from them because I think that was the perfect British souvenir. In fact, I have it here. So let's move over to this. I haven't opened it yet, but here's the Penhaligon's tissue, and here's a little sampler set. The Penhaligon's Scent Library, and it says established London 1870. So that's what that is. There it is. And this particular scent library is all the kind of like scents that I personally like, which I like kind of ambery scents, and amber doesn't have a scent, but what they call amber in the perfume world. I like incensey scents and like resins and I'm not really a floral person, but I really love this kind of stuff, like patchouli as well, but like not overwhelming patchouli blends. So yeah, this one I'm very interested in trying. I did sample them in the store, and this set had a lot of stuff that I really, really liked. So I'm looking forward to trying those and wearing them around and spending more money potentially on perfume, but never mind. Okay. Onward. Saatchi Gallery. So this one I don't like taking too many pictures. I took a lot of pictures in the galleries and the exhibitions, but I don't like sharing like everything or too much, because I do feel like that's probably going against the spirit of going and experiencing them yourself. But I did want to show this one because I really thought this was something else really, really cool. This one particularly because this is by someone called Zach Ove, who is British Trinidadian, born 1966. And this piece is called Virulent Strain 2023. 22 karat gold leaf, graphite, fiberglass interior, metastructure, 110 centimeters in diameter. It was big. Virulent Strain 2023. Yeah. Yeah. And this piece was also very beautiful. Is by Modupiola Fadugba, Nigerian, born 1985, Black Pageant 2023. Yeah, these are the only two I wanted to show. There were plenty. There's lots of gorgeous art at the Saatchi Gallery. It was another free gallery, but I did donate some money to that because they do a lot of community programming um, there and a lot of like classroom educational stuff. And it was a really cool place that I do think, deserves a lot of support. But yeah, Virulent Strain. Okay. And at their gift shop, I did not buy one of these, but you can see why these would appeal to me. They're just like tea light holders, and they were just gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. Look at that. That how could I resist that bottom right one? I nearly bought it, but I did not. And they also had these, which I also nearly bought, but did not. These ceramic ghosts. They're all like hand glazed, so they're all completely unique, and they're just adorable. But I did not. I also love ceramics. And here's the exterior of the Saatchi Gallery. And this was just a really cool building I took a picture of that I really liked. Again with the circle windows. It feels like it's coming from the same place as that the Greenwich Clock Tower. And another cool building. I think I took a picture of this building the last time I was here. I could probably check that and find out. But I was walking. I walked from the Penhaligons and Diptyque, that store like shopping area, to the Saatchi Gallery, and then I walked up to the the V&A, Victoria and Albert Museum, which is what this is, which is my favorite museum in London, and the one that I did visit. I visited it in 2019, and I visited it again. And this is what I wanted to show. This was in the Victoria and Albert Museum. I went to the ironworks kind of section, which is on the top level of the V&A, and it actually mentions here in the second paragraph, wrought iron balustrades did not become popular in England until the mid-17th century, when changing architectural styles and the role of the country or townhouse as an aristocratic status symbol led to an explosion in building activity and demand for decorative domestic ironwork. One of the first iron balustrades was the tulip staircase designed by Inigo Jones for the Queen's House, Greenwich, London, in the 1630s. And just the day before, I had gone to the Queen's House in Greenwich and taken a picture of the exact same staircase. So anyway, I thought that was fun. And yes, more ironwork. So this is, yeah, a lot of like this wonderful keys. Like as an adventure gamer, who could not love a good key? A nice elaborate key. It's just a gorgeous gallery as well. Just the architecture on its own, it'd be worthy of visiting. Really gorgeous, elaborately made iron locks. Because as the exhibit mentions, before there were banks, people had to secure their valuables and their money in some other way, and locks were super, super, super important at that time. And also chests for locks, chests and locks, very, very important. And this particular chest, and actually, there's a way of covering a chest with treated leather to make it waterproof or more water resistant, and that's what's happening here. This was just a gorgeous Art Nouveau door that I love so much. Also in the ironwork section. And oh, this is something that the Victoria and Albert Museum is famous for. If you can notice at in the kind of the right middle, we've got David, which is of course not the original, but Victoria and Albert Museum has a lot of copies. And by saying copies, it doesn't mean it's cheap or inferior or anything. These copies were made hundreds of years ago as well, and they were very important for, it was much harder, much more expensive to travel back, in 1600s or whatever. So what they would do is, yeah, they would get skilled craftspeople to make copies that could then be shown in galleries and museums around the world. So you could see and experience David. And this is probably a full-scale copy. I don't remember if this is or not. But yeah, you could see copies of great architectural and artistic works, maybe not in your own backyard, but much closer to going to like Rome or Italy or places, Rome or like Florence or places like that. This is the lunch that I had at the Viennese Cafe. I'm still pretty COVID cautious. I wore a mask most of the time, except when I was at events. Except when I was eating indoors. And I ate indoors a few times, but I tried kind of not to eat indoors, not as much as possible, but I was mindful of that. So when I was on my own, I didn't really eat on my own anywhere indoors. So this, you can see the table looks wet. It's because it is wet. Part of the cafe at the Victoria and Albert Museum, they have two kind of eating areas. There's the cafeteria area, and then there's another extra cafe that's kind of in the courtyard or something. And so I went and ate there, and they had like, yeah, patio tables. But that day was kind of rainy, but it was cold, but I still went outside to eat there anyway. Um, and so I had like this like a nice bean salad with this nice piece of baguette and a coffee, flat white, I believe that was. Maybe not. Maybe it was a cappuccino. Anyway, there we go. And that's another reason. Yeah, I had all like the bagels and the cheese. Like it does, save money to eat eat indoors. Eat not indoors, but eat takeaway in your room or whatever. But yeah, I was when I had the opportunity to eat lunch and dinner with some really really cool people like game developers and things like that. Yeah, I went for it. I totally did it. And if I find eventually that I do contract COVID from my trip, even given all the safety precautions that I took, then I don't know about traveling anymore, because otherwise it just for me would not be worth it if I couldn't have those experiences with those people. Anyway, we'll see. This is one of the areas in the Victoria and Albert Museum, and as you can see, it just has a ton of stuff. It's just filled to the gills with stuff, and everything is awesome and precious treasures, and it's kind of like mind-boggling. And here is just an example of what that looks like. So this is like a row of stuff. You turn 90 degrees one way or the other, and what you see is just stuff is just packed with stuff like this. When it's amazing, you can spend hours in here. And this was at also the Victoria and Albert Museum. There was a small exhibit that was free. It was part of the rest of it about Benny. And I was very interested in this because it's a dye extracted from safflower petals, and it gives a very vivid red pigment. And I'm also very, very interested in this type of a thing. And yeah, this is to me the most spectacular example of the use of Benny in anything. You can see one of these is green and one of these is red. They're both lacquered or painted using the same pigment, which kind of blows my mind. If you apply the Benny thickly in a certain way, it comes out as iridescent green. Otherwise, it comes out as flat red, and I just do not understand that. But apparently that's what it says. That's what it said on the placard, so we're going to have to go with that. And yeah, here are examples of the different kinds of textile colors you can get with the Benny as well, which I was very, very impressed by. This was also in the museum. I just felt like this to make it somewhat relevant to games and stuff. This was the Toshiba 21T 1100, manufactured 1985. Beautiful. This was a cafe. This was at the Harrods, I believe. Because after I walked from Victoria and Albert Museum to the Harrods, because I love Harrods, because Harrods is gorgeous and everything looks like it's ready to be filmed and put in a movie. This was in the fine jewelry section of Harrods, which was also stunning. Um, yeah, I would not, not that I could ever afford something like this. I probably wouldn't wear it if I could afford it, but I just love looking at this stuff because yeah, big bright colors. I'm I'm pretty straightforward in what I like. And this, look at this. Look at this emerald. Stunning, stunning, stunning. And Harrods, yeah, it's like pure luxury. And I don't know if I would ever want to shop in these places even if I could, but I just love how they look. I love all the beautiful finishing, and I love the design. And it's really cool to be in environments like this. And this is the escalator area for Harrods. And I know that it could be almost like cheesy in a way and look kind of like an amusement park or something, but somehow it doesn't. Somehow they pull it off because it's just so well done and tasteful. All stuff like this. And yeah, here's the champagne store if you want some champagne. And yeah, this is like their food court, so to speak, or dining hall, or a food. It's called the food hall, and everything looks very beautiful. Like, look at this display case. I cannot even. And here is the caviar section. Not that this is not something you see in your usual grocery store, but look at this. It's beautiful. Look at those tins. I don't even think I like caviar probably, but look at those tins. And here's your selection of beautifully baked pies. And like immaculate fruit. Like this is their grocery store in a way, and you can buy this fruit and it's immaculate. And here's their bulk section. I don't know why. If this, I'm sorry if this is boring to you, but I just love it. And their cheese section. And, confections and chocolates and stuff. It's just, yeah. I love a mall, and Harrods is like the ultimate shopping mall. Look at this dining area. And yeah, here's a close-up of that Penhaligon's scent library that I bought. And here's my full English breakfast. I mentioned I was trying to hit all the three major English dishes that I could think of, and of course, the full English breakfast is one of them. Another one is fish and chips, which I did have, and I think I have a picture somewhere. And then also I had a Sunday roast, which yeah, I'm very, very pleased. And the bolognese as well. Cutty sark again. Just an example, just a better example, just to see what the ship looks like all the way through. This is the painted hall, which was amazing. This is one I did have to pay to get into. What was cool about this one is that you can see these pillars and stuff. Like, those are not carved pillars, those are painted. And the person who painted this place was kind of an expert in doing these kind of faux finishes to make it look like things were carved but weren't. Which I love that illusion. You can see at the end of that hall, there's sort of like a bunch of like objects that are kind of look like they're carved into the wall, but they're just painted, which I love as well. Yeah, fancy like you wouldn't believe. This took 19 years, and this guy had, I think, 19 people working with him to complete this. And like every other artist, one of the reasons he got the commission is because he I guess he was cheaper, and also when they broke down how much he got paid, and how long it took him, he made like less than minimum wage, which I think a lot of artists we totally feel that. And this, look at this, look at this. These are stairs, but these are not there. This is a flat wall, and this guy just was that good at painting stuff. And here, this is an example of a window that he also painted. And yeah, here's the actual window that with light coming out and stuff. And then here's the window. Oh, here's the window that was painted to give the impression of another window. And this is what I wanted to show. This was one of his preliminary sketches for the whole painted ceiling of the painted hall. And I love this because it looks so modern and just full of energy. This looks like a sketch that I would make or any other artist would make for preliminary, which really just tickles me. It says there March 6th, 1707. And it could have been made yesterday. Here is a more finished version of it. And then an even more finished version with like the tone, like the more of that tone in it. I also went to the National Portrait Gallery. This one is by David Hockney. It was one of my favorite pieces in the gallery. National Portrait Gallery was also wonderful and amazing. Well, I mean, I guess I'm saying that a lot about things, but it's also very true. This was kind of blew my mind to see it. This is one of those paintings where you've seen it like a billion times, but seeing it in real life, it kind of is something really special. This, of course, is Queen Elizabeth I. And I still haven't seen those movies with Kate Blanchett in them. I do want to see them. But yeah. And this was day one of AdventureX. So all that stuff had happened before I'd done AdventureX. And yes, I came with my Crimson Diamond shirt, my Crimson Diamond hat, and my Crimson Diamond postcards. And my Flow Mask Pro, my Flow Mask, which I do recommend them if you can get them. I think they're US made, so they're probably easiest to get in the US, but I ordered mine, and there is a really cool a Canadian store that does ship them and stuff. And there it is with the pro filter. You can change the filters. The great thing about Flow Mask is you can replace all the parts, like the straps you can buy separately. The mask comes apart in two parts. Like there's the part that's silicone seal, and then like the white part, which is what holds the straps in and stuff. And it's all like replaceable bit by bit. That's a pro filter, and so that means it filters at N95 or better. Better quality. I also have the everyday filters, which filter a slightly less well than the N95s, but still very, very good. And this is a really comfortable mask. and it's really easy to breathe in it. I recommend this one out of all the masks that I've tried. I really like this one. And you can, or the when you buy the mask, it comes with 5 each of the pro filters and the everyday filters, so you can try them out. So I really like that. And yeah, here is the opening of AdventureX. This is in Greenwich University. And yeah, it was a great venue, except it was kind of really hot and stuffy in this room. And also, you could not get any wireless signal. Well, you couldn't get any signal in here because it's a concrete bunker, basically. But there was wireless internet if you did go through the steps. And here is the swag from AdventureX. You got so I think was it Matt Frith who did these? And I can't remember. I think Matt Frith did the artwork, did the fun adventure based artwork for the event. Yeah, we've got a really cool little pamphlet by, I guess, Ask Games, who was one of the sponsors. And this is the lunch I had, which this I didn't know what this was before, but this is a leggera, which is basically a pizza with a hole in the middle for salad. Which, yeah, I think Francisco's partner Jess is saying, from a cost analysis point, it's not the best, but also for me, I really was trying to eat at least a few greens here and there during the trip, so it was worth it to me. Leggera. We ate this is at a Pizza Express. And this is the dinner that I had, which is, again, I was trying to eat somewhat healthy. This is a superfood salad. The reason the light looks like this is because this was like the garden patio area of a restaurant. This was at the Greenwich Tavern. So they had kind of an outdoor area, except it was kind of covered over. And the reason it was this color was because of the heat lamps, I'm assuming, that were coming down on us. Oh, okay. Sorry. Edmund Detour says it was someone named Paper Noise who couldn't make it to Adventure X. Okay, Paper Noise. Sorry. Okay, my mistake. Paper Noise made this art for the event materials. Thank you, Edmund Detour, for correcting me on that. I don't know why I thought it was Matt Frith. It doesn't look like his style, but anyway, I thought he was working in a different style. Anyway, Paper Noise. Thank you, Paper Noise, for creating the art for the event. Yeah, so this was a dinner I did have with people, but yeah, it was kind of outdoors almost, but and then yeah, this is from the event. This is the Ask Games event that we're celebrating right now currently, and I think it's finishing up tomorrow. This is my Adventure X tag, where someone was giving Ioannis was giving out these Adventure Game Studio stickers, so I picked up a few of those. And yeah, here is a close up of the embroidery of the EGA bucket, of which is the shirt I'm wearing right now. And this is me on day 2. Oh, sorry, this is me on day 1. I got these messed up. No, this is day 2. This is day 2. I'm wearing my level 0 NPC shirt. I've been, I guess I'm a part of them now, where we let's play things, and those come out on CR Saturdays. We were playing Phantasmagoria, then we did finish Phantasmagoria for Horror Month. And previously we celebrated Crawl Timber, and before that we were playing the Crimson Diamond, the Colonel's Bequest, and we're going to be picking back up on the Colonel's Bequest hopefully this week. But yeah, look at that wonderful art. You can see near at the bottom at the left, you can see my little portrait that Matt made for me, which is kind of awesome. And here is me and Adventure Game Geek with his bucket hat, which he has been wearing in his videos, which is kind of awesome. So it's really good to meet up with him again. And here, yeah, I was mentioning Sunday roast dinner. I made sure to have a Sunday roast dinner while I was there, and it was really good. It was delicious. Yorkshire pudding and potatoes and carrots and horseradish and all the rest of it. This was lunch. And I ate this lunch with Jean-Baptiste, who made Lancelot's Hangover. I ate and with Nath, who is making Hollow Body, and who also made Guard Duty. And with Yan from Golasso Games, who made Inspector Waffles, and currently has a Kickstarter up for his Game Boy game for Inspector Waffles. And who else was? Oh yeah, Will from Kinney Games, who is making Signal and Echo Iris is Missing. And that was a lovely lunch that we had. And this was actually outside the pub, like on a kind of like a patio area as well. So that was kind of outdoor dining. And it was a nice sunny day that day too. But yes, yeah, really like a good meeting of adventure game devs. And we talked about like one button versus 2 button interfaces and all the rest of it. This is, yeah, the University of Greenwich had an art supply store that I did visit, and they were having a clearance sale on watercolors. Speaking of, I did show earlier my Graham Round art card that I gave him for when I met up with him, and that was watercolor, and I was really overjoyed to pick up these tubes of not only these are all like, I don't know if these are all professional, but some of them do say professional watercolor, which is their higher grade versus the Cotman watercolors, for £1 each. So I feel like that was a screaming deal. Very, very, I can't wait to try these. And yeah, here's a picture during Adventure X. You can see on the far left, you can see Yan from Galasso Games and from Inspector Waffles, and the guy there in the top hat, and this looks kind of like Willy Wonka, is Tom Hardwich, who made Lucy Dreaming and is currently working on her Era of the Dog, which was showing at Adventure X. I don't know who the guy behind me was, but there's me with my Nancy Maple hat, and closest to us is Jean Baptiste, who made Lancelot's Hangover. Here was okay, my second go of English breakfast. This was a vegetarian breakfast. Grilled halloumi cheese is amazing. And here is the Young VNA, where they were having an exhibit that I wanted to see, which was Japan from Myth to Mythos. I mistakenly thought this was at the other VNA, so that's why I went to the other VNA first. But I'm glad I went because that museum is amazing. This is apparently the newly renovated Young VNA, which apparently was been under construction for a few years, but it is now open. Gorgeous building. Japan Myths to Manga. Oh, Myths to Manga. Ah, I've been calling it the wrong things this whole time. But yeah, this is a really cool little exhibit. This one you had to pay to get in. I think like £9 or £10. But I think the children, the Young VNA is free. Okay. And here, this is another example of something where you've seen it a billion times, but when you get to see an original, it kind of is mind blowing. This, yeah, of course, is Hokusai's Great Wave, or whatever it's called, one of the 47 views of Tokyo, or whatever it's called, series. I think I've seen like this is a woodblock print, so not only one of these exists. I don't know how many are existing in the world right now, but it's not just one. I think I saw one possibly at the V&A or some other museum while I was in London. But it's just really cool to see a real one again. And this was just really cute. It's like a JVC. Yeah, a JVC Nivico. Look at how adorable this is. Look at it. Just look at it. It's great. I love the chain too. Oh. And this, which is a cell from Sailor Moon, which is kind of amazing. I was very impressed. Oh, you've been searching it. You've been seeing it or searching for it, Edmondito. The Great Wave, Kanagawa, or whatever it's called. Okay, next. Yeah, this is it. They just make this is like children's museum, so of course it's very child friendly. This is adorable, so cute. And this is the tiling that they have on the floor of the Young V&A, which is also very, very beautiful. And this was also, I mentioned dollhouses. Yeah, they had a whole section about dollhouses, including this one little room with a bunch of different dollhouses. I don't even know if these are dollhouses. They just might be like facades or something. I don't know, but yeah, it's cool. And they also had some guy's collection of He-Man figures, which I loved too, because I'm big into He-Man myself. I was searching for it. It's always archived and not on display. Oh, I see. You've been searching for that the Hokusai's wave print. Oh my gosh, it eludes you. Well, there is one up in this exhibit, although like I said, this is not a permanent exhibit. I think it lasts until March or May 2024. So if you find yourself in London before then, you can definitely check it out there. But yeah, I'm sure it's other places permanently showing. And this, which is also, so this is part of the board game area of the Young V&A. This is one of the prototypes for Settlers of Catan, which is a game I've played a lot of over the years. But I think it's really, really cool to see it like this. Like these are like handmade tiles and everything. It said in the description that originally I think the tiles were square, but they decided to go with hexes, which I think is very wise. And this is one of the oldest buildings in London, I was told by a friend of mine, Yo-Yu, who lives in London. And it's apparently a building that Charles Dickens was like in and like he wrote in and stuff like that. Really awesome that they preserved it. And this was I had hot pot that day in the Chinatown area of London. It was hot. I'm not used to Szechuan spice, and it kind of makes you feel like you've touched your tongue on a battery. I've never done that, but I assume that's what it feels like. It's like a weird tingle. Um, but it was very tasty. This is the Chinatown area. Yo-Yo said that we used to put these up only for, Chinese New Year or something, but they just ended up keeping them up all year round. I like it. I'm glad that they do. This was at the Cutty Sark Museum, like not the museum, but the Cutty Sark Museum gift shop. This is another one you have to pay to get in, and I was kind of running short on time. But I almost bought this because I do have my brass loop, my Nancy's Lucky loop. I almost bought this. I did not buy the compass keyring though. And Cutty Sark, yeah, Cutty Sark blended Scotch whiskey. I also did not buy any of that. And yeah, this is a really cool example of what it looks like from below, where you can see the whole rest of the ship. Very, very, very neat. And a better example of seeing the above and below of the ship. And yeah, you can buy a large, medium, or mini model of the Cutty Sark, as well as like they've got them in little bottles as well. Very, very cute. And yeah, speaking of rocks, I mentioned, yeah, this is the shore of the Thames by Greenwich, and it's very rocky. And if you've watched my streams before, you know that I've often gone to the shores of Lake Ontario, which are also quite rocky, and looked for rocks to take and look at and appreciate and collect. And I've got a ton. I have too many rocks at home, but I could not resist. Here's a close-up of some of those rocks. And yeah, I mean, once I've become really, really acquainted with the rocks on the shores of Lake Ontario, I could immediately see how different the rocks are on the shores of the Thames. And that was really exciting. And I wish I only spent about 10 or 15 minutes looking at the rocks here because I had my train to catch to go to the airport. But I could have spent hours here. I really could have. And here is, yeah, British Airways, where you're awesome. And this is me at the airport with the weird clouds and a gorgeous sunset. And here are the meals, of course. That was peri peri chicken, which didn't really taste very peri, with rice and Jacob's stable crackers, Jacob's table crackers. And yeah, I don't, you know what? I need to look up what the thing is on the top left. It had like beets in it and other chopped up things, and then it kind of was on a yogurt, but I don't know what that was. But it was fine. It tasted good. I don't know what this milk was for. The Lakeland whole milk that came with this, it didn't come with tea or coffee. It was served with the meal, and I didn't end up using it because I didn't know what they wanted me to do with it. Yeah. And then this was the last thing we had, which is this roast vegetable and quinoa lattice pastry. And here it is. Again, okay. I've read about how people's sense of taste is affected when they're in like on airplanes, something to do with, I don't know, the pressure or the elevation or something, the dryness, probably the dryness. So these things all seem kind of tasteless, and I think because just the like your taste sense is kind of like temporarily impaired when you're there. And yeah, here are the rocks. I don't know why. Oh, wait, I can do this. Oh, cool. Is that the whole... Okay. No, I didn't want that. Okay. Here are the rocks that I picked up from the shores of the Thames. And they're awesome. It's weird because you see the outside of these rocks, a lot of them, they have rough, rocky exterior, and then in the inside it's kind of like they're filled with like gummy or something. They're very smooth and reflective. They're not wet here or anything like that. But yeah, I thought because of how smooth some of these areas were on these rocks, I thought they might be like ceramics that have been broken up and washed ashore or something. But then I saw this rock that was already broken in half, and it's got that like very glazed looking smooth surface to it, which is kind of fascinating to me. But yeah, that is the last of my slides for my trip of Adventure X. But I do have the rocks here. So here's this rock to give you a sense of scale. You know, none of these pictures are going to be as good as sorry, none of these when I show them on the camera like this, it's not going to be as good. But yeah, this ooh, no, don't go back there. Come back. Okay. Yeah, so this one, for instance, like, look, this is a very rocky exterior, very typical of a rock. And then you flip it over and it breaks open and it's kind of, yeah, it looks like it's filled with like candy or caramel or something. It's very smooth and I don't really understand that. I'm gonna have to do some more research about what these rocks are that I've picked up. But yeah, I'm really glad I got those souvenirs. That was wonderful. But yeah, that's it for the stream, I think. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you, Ash Games. Ash Games was wonderful in hosting this event. It was open to anyone who had shown at AdventureX between some year and some year. It just so happened that the Crimson Diamond was still eligible for showing in this event. And I'm glad I got to do an actual live stream. I'm here right now. If you're seeing this on Steam right now, I'm here right now. If you have any like last minute questions for me about the Crimson Diamond, I'm here on Steam. If you're watching this on YouTube as a VOD, I am no longer here. But yeah, anyway. Oh yeah, Edmund Detour. I'm glad you enjoyed the slideshow. I might show it again on Crimson Tuesday, because I know I kind of did this on short notice. But yeah, I might go through that all again, and fix the order of the slides as well. I don't know, some of them are out of order, but happy Adventure X. It's the best adventure game event in the whole world. And it's so wonderful to reconnect with a lot of people that I know I normally only interact with online, including Mousimus. I can't, it was so cool to meet up with Mousimus in real life after knowing him online for years. And a lot of people at AdventureX this year that I haven't seen since the last AdventureX. It was really nice to see people again. And I hope to go next year. We shall see. And maybe the Crimson Diamond will be out by then. And then I don't know if they'd show it again because it's already been shown once, but I'll submit it. Who knows if it's done, which it should be. But yeah, happy Crimson Wednesday. I will be back streaming on Crimson Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern on my Twitch channel. Definitely, if you can check that out, you can see me working on more of the introductory art intro sequence, fixing that close up that is still kind of not great so far, but I think that's going to be it for the evening. Please do check out the other games in the event. There are a lot of wonderful sales on right now. Check out this other streams and wish list. Help your local and your not so local indie game developers. It definitely does mean a lot to us. And yeah, the better our games can sell, then the more games we can make and the faster we can make them. So I'm going to say goodnight for now, and I'll see you hopefully on Crimson Tuesday. Enjoy the rest of the fest. I think tomorrow is the last day, before you can no longer grab these wonderful deals. So yes, have a wonderful rest of your week. Thank you for being here. I'm going to sign off. Let's see. All right. Bye. Stop streaming. Yes. Stop streaming. Yes.